Denver Broncos at home to Kansas City. For the Steelers, a win here tonight, and they clinch the number 5 seed in the AFC playoff picture. Now, welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Joe Buck. That's the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman. Lisa Salters is coming right up. Let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. We were there week 14. They had just lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were 4-8. They felt like they were dead in the water, and now here they are. They've won 4 in a row, and at least they've got a shot. And the first thing is to get a win here tonight. And man, Joe Burrow has just been sensational all season long.
Yeah, he's been so good. This is a dangerous football team if, in fact, they're able to get into the postseason. And, of course, the reason why has been the play of Joe Burrow. Talking with him, he says he's playing the best football of his career. He also feels that it's the best offense that he's been a part of. Hard to argue with either one of those statements. He's almost had to do it by himself. He hasn't had much of a running game. The defense hasn't helped them that much overall. But over the last 4 weeks, they've been able to put those wins together. This defense has really improved. It was a weak spot through a big part of this year, but Lou Anarumo has them playing pretty good ball. The biggest thing is they've been able to create some takeaways. Now, they're playing the Steelers offense that you go back to that loss. They gave up over 500 yards to Russell Wilson in the offense, so they've got their work cut out for them if they're going to come out of this one with a win.
For the Pittsburgh Steelers, their ticket for the postseason is stamped. However, they've gone from 10-3 to 10-6, and they've got to get some momentum back before the postseason.
Yeah, and Mike Tomlin knows that they've got to play better. And the biggest thing is they're just not playing Steelers football. It really is about running the ball, protecting the ball, and playing great defense. The last 2 weeks, they've actually run the ball well. But Russell Wilson, he's had some uncharacteristic turnovers the last few games. It's a big reason why they've come up short here over the last 3 weeks. But the defense, they haven't been the same either. And Mike Tomlin was pretty blunt in his assessment of how they've been playing. And going up against this Joe Burrow-led offense, good luck with that.
Yeah, and a guy chasing around Joe Burrow tonight is T.J. Watt. He's gone 2 games without a sack. His counterpart is Trey Hendrickson. What a year he's had. More to come on the Progressive Kickoff coming up next.
Did we need to wave her down to tell her that?
No.
Yeah, for a young homeowner turning into their parents, the neighborhood is their life.
Wonder who's visiting the Bergs. It's not their card.
Hey guys, who's winning? Now, most of the neighborhood uses Progressive for their
Okay.
cars and house.
Should advance.
Oh,
Progressive can't save you from becoming your parents, but we can save you money when you want Nova Auto with us.
here he comes like clockwork. You got the ticket?
Hopefully everyone had a happy new year, because the Steelers did not have a Merry Christmas as they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. They've lost 3 in a row, and with a win tonight, hopefully not losing 4 in a row to end the regular season for the first time since 1998, but with a win tonight after Baltimore just defeated the Cleveland Browns and clinched the AFC North. After coming from 2 games back in the division because of the Steelers' losses, Pittsburgh with a win tonight can clinch the 5 seed. They'll go to Houston then next weekend in the wildcard round of the NFL playoffs. A loss, they can still potentially be the 5, but they'll probably be the 6. It's just going to depend on what happens tomorrow, as here we are, week 18 already in the National Football League. Hard to believe from late July, early August with training camp and the preseason, and from Atlanta week 1 to Heinz Field Acrisure Stadium in the Berg, 4-1-2 as the Steelers will host the Cincinnati Bengals in this regular season finale. So they met a little over a month ago, December the 1st. Pittsburgh was going to try to unleash hell in the month of December. Yeah, they won that day in a shootout, won the next week as well, but they haven't won since. They've dropped 3 in a row. The schedule's been all over the place, playing this day of the week, that day of the week, but they still got to go out and take care of business. They need to get momentum on their side heading into the playoffs. You don't want to, just drag in and then get your ass kicked. You want to have some momentum on your side and be one of those teams that teams don't want to play. But the way they've been playing as of late, we'll have to see how the rest of the season shakes out from here. But obviously that's why they play the game. It's out on paper, it's out on the field. So, yeah, Bengals, Steelers coming up this January the 4th, 2025, Saturday night. We're on ABC ESPN for some Monday Night Football. So thanks for tuning in and watching my live play watch along reactions live right here on YouTube. So I was in host Encyclopedia Sports, Quinn Luke 96. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media. Links in the description below. Thumbs up button. Share hashtag NFL, hashtag Steelers. Chat questions and comments. Super chat, super stickers, super likes, super thanks. Always get appreciated. As well as this video is powered by Rogue Energy, HopeKThrifts, and Dead and Hungry, and we'll get into the three of them, along with being sure to scan the QR code behind me if you haven't done so already in a little bit. But yeah, Pittsburgh is going to try not to lose 4 games in a row to end the regular season for the first time since 1998, which is a little hard to believe. Obviously, you don't want that record being broken tonight by any means. They're used to just finding ways to win. With the run game, more so than not, the defense, no doubt about it. But from the running game being up and down throughout the season, when they're running the football well, though, and playing Steeler defense, they're going to have a chance and, be in it and hopefully come out on top. But what's done them in this year? Offensively, defensively, obviously a Boswell at kicker for special teams. They're 10-6 because of turnovers. From the loss to Indy and Dallas late September, early October, to the winning streak they had before then they lost at Cleveland right before Thanksgiving in the snow. And then, you knew about a tough 3-game stretch right before Christmas and on Christmas Day heading into the season to begin with at Philadelphia, at Baltimore, and then hosting the Chiefs on Christmas. They haven't played since in the past week and a half. And now back home today, this evening, now tonight. We didn't know when this game was going to be played, week 18. It could have been today, one of these 2 Saturday games, or tomorrow. I'll shut up, National Anthem. We'll get back to it in a minute. Land of the free because of the brave. Thank you and shout out to our troops. Thank you for your service. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard once again. Hopefully everyone had a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. But here we are, January 4th, 2025. And like I was saying, didn't know when this game was going to be played this week 18. Or there's one of these 2 games today on this Saturday or at some point in time tomorrow. Obviously, I'll have Sunday football game 272. For this 2024-2025 NFL regular season before the playoffs begin next weekend. You'll have a couple games Saturday, a couple games Sunday, then Monday Night Football in the wild card round before the divisional round, and the conference championship games, and then 2 weeks after that, Super Bowl 59. And we'll see if the black and gold are down in New Orleans celebrating 50 years from their first Super Bowl win in Super Bowl 9. But that's neither here nor there right now. Go out and take care of business, find a way to win. Like I said, home game against the Bengals here after a tough 3-game stretch with 2 of them on the road at Philly and at Baltimore. They were driving in both those games, had chances, turnovers, and then, we saw it happen on Christmas. But, this very well could be the final home game of the season, from the regular season to the playoffs, for that matter. Steelers might be playing in Ireland next year, so the rumor is right now. We'll get more into that a little bit later on. Might be the final time on the North Shore at the point for a Steeler home game here 2024-2025, as they'll host the Bengals. We'll come back from this break and kick this game off. So see what happens. They flat out can't turn the ball over. That's why they're 10-6, because turnovers, flat out. I mean, there's no other way of putting it. They probably could have a couple more wins. Probably could be divisional champs, but at this rate, they're not in both those regards. With everything that's happened, and it's sort of their own fault. They've shot themselves in the foot a little too much at times because of turnovers, and they're now going to have to go on the road in the playoffs. Like I said, they win, they're a 5 seed. They'll go to Houston next weekend at some point in time, whether that's next Saturday again, next Sunday, next Monday night. I doubt they'd have that be the Monday night game, but you never know. Remember, they went to Houston last year and lost to the Texans because of, guess what, turnovers. So obviously not much has changed, but if they're the 6th seed, they're going to have to go to the 3 seed and the AFC North champion, Baltimore Ravens, and it'll be obviously the 3rd meeting this year between the two, which that's happened before. But are you ready for some football? Cue the Monday Night Football theme, as this is ABC ESPN Monday Night Football on a Saturday night. Steelers on the kickoff. So, they won the toss to further option their choice the second half, so they get the ball to begin the 3rd quarter. So they're on the kickoff. Boswell right to left across Telvin screen right in on Dow. 2 booming away back deep to the Bengals, as we'll see Joe Burrow and the Bengal offense on the field first. Return from the goal line to the 27-28-yard line. So, Burrow at quarterback. It's cold, so Joe Burrow and the Bengals hopefully turn them back into the Bungles. They need to win tonight and get some help tomorrow to make the playoffs themselves. But they're going to be without their running back and Chase Brown. But obviously we know the weapons he has to throw to with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And then Andre the Giant, Yoshavash. But handoff and no gain on the play. And it's Deshaun Elliott for the Steeler defense. At corner tonight for the Steelers, Dante Jackson's out, but Joey Porter is returning. So he is active and playing. We'll see his workload, though. But it starts up front. Got to win the line of scrimmage. You got Cam Hayward in the middle. Obviously, Watt and Highsmith coming off the edge. Backers have played well this season. Minka's stepped up as of late in the secondary. So, empty set here for Cincy, 2nd and 10. Almost a minute in. And Burrow's pass far side caught Mike Gesicki, maybe a face mask, but he'll get 11 yards and a Cincinnati Bengal first down. So, once again, when these two teams met a little over a month ago, entering December, it was a shootout. He had a pick 6 early. But Pittsburgh got momentum before halftime, kept it throughout the entire second half for the most part. And even though since he was still scoring themselves and coming back, Pittsburgh just, with momentum, they held on to it and, they got the win. It was still a 1-score game when it was all said and done, which is no surprise for the Steelers. It's always going to come down to the wire regardless of what the score is. But That pass complete near side. T. Higgins. Yeah, they say caught, but he's short. 2.5 yard from right around midfield. But I feel like tonight, down the middle, Gesicki again to the Steeler 35. He's got 2 first down catches already tonight on this opening drive. But I feel like tonight it's probably going to be like the total opposite of, shootout. I mean, you're talking low scoring, like first to 20 wins this game. I get Cincinnati's driving right now, but it's early, so a lot of football to be played. We'll see how the Steeler offense works, but they just, got to go out and play Steeler ball. That's a false start. Come on. There is a ton of movement up front, no penalty. So the Zebras are letting them play here early. But no, it's cold. It's windy. It's been windy all day today. Might have some more snow tonight during this game, as there was some snow that fell yesterday afternoon into today, overnight. But 2nd and 5 from the 31. Draw and a couple yards, so 3rd and short. But obviously still just got to go out and play ball, regardless of the situation, regardless of the weather. But with the wind, interested to see, obviously that's going to affect this kicking game at all. Knowing Pittsburgh, they do settle for 3 as much as they do. Take your points while you can get them, but what about it, still got to score a touchdown. So 3rd and long 1. Chase in the backfield is going to motion the slot top of your screen. Burrow looking his way. It's caught in the flat far side. Missed tackle. And gets a first down, pick up about good 8-10 yards. They say 7 officially. And Highsmith, I believe, was on the stop. So first down Bengals again. They're inside the red zone at the 19, and it's, good 5-minute drive at this point. And they're looking to strike first and get some points on the board. Once again, Cincy needs to win. That pass far side, caught by Chase, going to be pushed out, be second about 2, 2nd and 3, depending on the spot. But Cincinnati needs to win and then get some help tomorrow. In order to be the 7th seed. They need to win and have both the Dolphins and Broncos lose. But then if they lose tonight, their season's over. Pittsburgh's on 5 seed. But if they win, one of the 2 wins, the other loses, they're still out. Pittsburgh's still in. So Pittsburgh's already in the playoffs. They've already clinched. It's either, 5, 6 seed. And over the middle, Jamar Chase touchdown. So they go 70 in a little over 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and 5-11. And just 1-on-1, and Corey Trice getting picked on. So here's the extra point. McPherson not back yet. So the Dallas Cowboys cheerleader's boyfriend on an attempt to PAT. And the Bengals lead the Steelers 7-0. 9:49 to play in this opening quarter. So they've not lost since the Steelers beat them. They've won 4 in a row. They're 8-8. One of the hottest teams in the league, no doubt about it. If only, we know how the Bengals start the season. It's always slow. It's always like they're 0-2, 0-3, maybe a win or 2 here and there. And then it's like, then they'll get rolling midway point. And right now it's biting them in the ass because they're in a situation of they need to win and get help, which Pittsburgh's been in before. We've been there, but luckily Pittsburgh doesn't also need to win this game. and then also need help tomorrow to make the playoffs by any means. They're already in. Just matter of fact, if they win tonight, they're the 5 seed, lose, still could be the 5 seed once again, depending on what happens, but probably going to be the 6. And then it's the matchup. So, and you're already down, which because there was talk just within the past hour, even though Pittsburgh already said we're playing everybody, like nobody's resting. They'll rest them if it, like turns into blowout of some sorts, but go out and play. Obviously knock on wood, nobody gets hurt, but it's really the matchup. Because honestly, you think about it, you'd probably rather play the Houston Texans than the Baltimore Ravens again. But the opponent's the opponent, it doesn't fucking matter. You still got to go out and take care of business, because if you don't win, you're done, next week. So, no, but there was talk potentially after, the Ravens just won the North, that, well, what does Pittsburgh do now? Do they rest? Once again, you got to win to get the 5. They lose, could be the 5, but probably going to be the 6. So, and then it's the matchup. So it's just, we'll see how this game shakes out. But they defensively just got picked apart. Burrow just drove downfield, and yeah, they couldn't have asked for a better starter. They're going to hope to get a stop on defense. So we'll see how the offense works. I mean, you have Russ at quarterback. Fields to back up tonight, Kyle Allen, the merged third-string quarterback. But rock the Naj and let Warren bulldoze his way forward. So, obviously, Pickens at wide receiver, they need somebody behind him to step up. But Freiermuth at tight end, along with Darnell Washington, Pruitt, Hayward, we just saw Mike Gesicki, a couple big catches there. Penn State tight end game here tonight once more. Nittany Lions play on Thursday. It's Fighting Irish, but, just move the ball and score. Cut this lead if you have to, kick a field goal. But obviously you'd love a touchdown. So, Cincinnati kicking towards the river. So Pittsburgh will be going towards the hills. What the fuck is this? Okay, so the kickoff did not make it into this landing zone that is a part of this new kickoff this year. And we've really not had any penalties to this, other than obviously you still kick it out of bounds, it goes to the 40. But really haven't had any penalties, along those lines up until now, all season long. I've seen a few others as of late, but it took the whole way to late December, early January for this shit to happen. But Pittsburgh going to start out good starting field position, 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line. We'll see if they can do anything with it. Probably not, if I have to guess, but you never know. I think Russ wants it on the right hash. And they'll put it in the middle of the field. 1st and 10 from the 40. And Russ out of the gun with Najee Harris to his left. And they'll run a draw up the middle for 3, maybe 4 yards. So, all right. Like I said, run the football, but they need somebody to step up wide receiver behind George Pickens. Obviously get 14 the ball, but, from Van Jefferson to Mike Williams to Calvin Austin, Scotty Miller inactive tonight for what it's worth. Obviously, yeah, they have Ben Skoranek, who's actually in motion, I might add. Bubble screen complete far side Pickens, but yeah, well, that's a late hit. They already blew it dead, and they still push him out of bounds, even though he's already out of bounds, so no penalty. So it'll be 3rd, and we'll see where they spot that after. That should have been a late hit. Automatic 15, but it's not. They're letting him play, so play through it. But that's why I was saying, get the tight ends of goddamn fucking football. From Freiermuth to Darnell Washington's really come on this year as a pass catcher. He can obviously still block with as big of a guy as he is, but 3rd and 7. Pickens in motion. Russ all day to throw, and he takes a sack. So they'll punt, and Cincinnati can get the ball with a 7-point lead. So yeah, that's the thing we talked about earlier this year. From Fields starting because Russ was hurt, and then Russ coming back, and then maybe a situation of playing them both, which they've done very little of. Obviously going a winning streak, but then they've lost as many as they have as of late, 3 in a row, including what it's been. A fair catch, no, and then a big hit on the return to the 35-ish. But I mean, they a good field, and they only go a couple yards and have to punt. So Cincinnati ball up 7 with 7:47 played in this first quarter. But one other thing about the wide receivers. I mean, would have been nice to see what Roman Wilson could have done this year at wideout, but obviously he got hurt. Rookie out of Michigan. Just to add to the room. But it's Russ's. He's mobile, but he's not as mobile as Fields is. And especially with the offense line being the way it is at times, even though I thought they played pretty well this year, it's been just at times, well, you got to get rid of the ball, and that's the argument with Fields. Well, he would take off and run. And they say he's been banged up and so on and so forth, but I'm not suggesting a quarterback change by any means. What's really hurting them is, really only having Pickens at wide receiver. Because they've had very few, of the trio, that they have behind them, really do a hell of a lot this year. From Van Jefferson, okay, yeah, Calvin Austin in the return game, but Mike Williams, trade for him, hasn't done much. Like I said, that's what I said with Roman Wilson. Would have been nice to potentially see what he would have done this year, but kind of have to wait on that, obviously, as they had to wait on Calvin Austin, and then time has still passed on that, and it's like, well, it's just the Steelers and wide receivers. It's like they get them for 3-4 years on a rookie deal, maybe 5, and then they're out the door. Regardless of their position on the depth chart, like it's a continuous cycle of, all right, you're in and now you're out. But obviously they probably could bolster the offense line like any team's going to do, because you need protection. But remember, once again, they've had injuries up front. But so I thought they played well. It's just when they get one-dimensional, okay, yeah, run game travels, but eventually they're going to stop the run. They're going to have to throw, and then you don't have anybody else at wide receiver. It's just tough, and that's the thing with the tight ends. You got to get them involved. Cincinnati's doing just that again, and so first down and 10, make it second and manageable now, and Steeler defense seemingly going to be out there a lot tonight at this rate if this keeps up. I mean, that's just a quick 3 and out by the offense. With good field position, you can't do a damn thing. You punt the ball back, and then they're going to drive and score and at least work clock if they don't. And remember, already have the lead, so you're in a hole, and it's just nice open field tackle for loss. Corey Trice be third and 4 from the 40. But just obviously one play at a time. Do your job, because as Cam Hayward said, when 10 guys do their job and one doesn't, we're screwed. Now, I don't know who's calling out by any means. I don't think anybody does. other than if you're in the building, you probably do know. I'm sure there's a little pull-off side conversation to that. Quick pass, complete Gesicki, Peyton Wilson on the tackle, but yeah. All right. Just let them back your ass up and drive on you and get pancaked. And they just, for whatever reason, love, putting the pressure on themselves compared to whoever the hell they're playing. They just love being in situations late in the game. It feels like, one score game, need the defense to bail them out and, find a way to win. But that pass complete to Higgins, who had a big game a week ago. Bengals playing on a Saturday. Once again, they played in that triple header a week ago after Christmas. Steelers, remember, played on Christmas on Netflix, lost to the Chiefs. But, yeah. As you look at the all-time with these two, Pittsburgh leads, I believe it's 71-39, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And from Pittsburgh winning earlier this year to this game now tonight, I mean, Cincinnati's going all out, and you can't blame them. They have nothing to fucking lose because they need to win. Like Pittsburgh's already in. There's the highlights for Higgins last week against the Broncos. He had 3 touchdowns. But they've been staying alive. And if they do make the playoffs, the 7th seed, they'll be going to Buffalo at 2. And then if it's Denver, let alone Miami at 7, they'll be going to Buffalo at 2. Because the Chiefs have a bye. Ravens at 3 will host whoever the 6th seed is. And it very well could be the Steelers. But we'll see. It just depends on what happens. So we'll see what happens. But yeah. 3rd down here. Gotta get the hell off the field. But honestly, at this rate, I wouldn't be surprised they get on the 1st down, continue to drive and score. Just once again, they just love doing it to themselves. Because even if they don't convert here, they're probably going to kick a field goal. But they'll run it on 3rd and yard and get a 1st down inside the 30. So new set of downs, drive continues, and we'll go from here. So as we near the end of the 1st quarter, about 3 and change to play in this first 15. Yeah. From the 30, 1st and 10. Yeah. Going through the fucking motions. Dump off, it's complete for 5 yards, 2nd down. I mean, they know they're in, but at the same point in time, you still probably want to get a better seed in the playoffs if you can. Unless they want to go to Baltimore and beat the Ravens, which by all means, go right ahead. Then that's maybe where the momentum, gets back on their side. And then it's like, all right, maybe they got something, but still, yeah, highly doubt it. But who knows? That's why they play games. That's complete Gesicki again. And Elliott on the tackle. Flag on the play. It's going to be on Cincinnati. Obviously, of the tackle for loss. Pittsburgh could decline this rather than take the penalty, and then it's still replay it down. So we'll see what the rolling is. An eligible man downfield. Yeah, penalties declined, and it'll be 3rd down. 3rd and 6 after the penalty from the 26. Maybe a turnover. You got to get pressure. Got to stop the run, but you got to get pressure on Burrow. You just can't let him stand back there and pick your ass apart, because if you do, it's going to be a long night. They bring 4. They get to him. Ball's out, and it's recovered by Cincinnati at the 30. He took a shot. They brought the house. And so 47, 48-yard field goal coming up. Highsmith limping off. Hopefully he's okay. But Patrick Queen was the first to hit him. Ball comes out. Highsmith and Watt sandwich. And yeah, that would have been a fumble if they would have been able to recover. But 48-yard field goal to give Cincy a 2-score lead here. Minute 30 to play in the first quarter. Kicks up and good. So the Bengals lead the Steelers 10-0. So the Steeler offense got to do something. Got to do something, man. I'll take a field goal. At least get something. Even that field goal there's out. You know, obviously you're still going to be down on 7, but you know, if you can, drive and score a touchdown. Obviously, you'll still be down. It'll be 3. You'll get that field goal later. But, man, you got to do something. You just can't be, all right, whatever, and it's, you know, the way it is. But, I mean, they're already in the playoffs. Just don't know where they're going to be headed next weekend, whether it's really to Baltimore or Houston. And when the game is. So, and that's just how it is, win or loss night. Which is a little odd for them to be in this situation, other than if they were, say, the 1 or the 2 seed, you know, under the old format and having a first-round bye. Because normally, you know, week 17, week 18 for the Steelers, they're in a situation of, well, they need to win and get some help, or, you know, even with, say, a loss, they still, you know, could have got help and, you know, made their way in. But there's also been situations of, well, because they didn't win, they lost, season's over. You know, they ended up making the playoffs. So, and then it goes back to, well, this game or that game and why they didn't make it in. At least they're already in. They've already clinched. Didn't get the division, though, because they stumbled down the stretch. Is what it is. So you control what you can control now, what's in front of you. And, you know, we'll go from there. So. So from the 35, Cincinnati kicks off. Pittsburgh back deep to receive. And from the goal line on the return, Warren spins, breaks a tackle to 20 and gets to the 26. So remember, they had good starting field position on the first drive from the 40, only won a couple yards and had to punt. So Cincinnati was a 2-score lead. They've controlled the line of scrimmage. They're controlling the clock, and they scored points. Pittsburgh, yeah, you can play the polka all you want, but not much to show for. So Russ up under center. Jefferson in motion. And Russ will hand off Najee Harris, who then stumbles, and then they still somehow gets a first down, and yeah, moves the sticks. So I'll take it. Good block by Dan Moore and then Isaac Siamalu. But yeah, Naj stumbled, but then hey, just keep moving your feet, and then ended up getting first down out of that one. He should have probably only got 4 or 5 yards. First and 10 from the 37. And Russ up under center. They'll toss to him near side. And he'll lose a yard, so 2nd and 11. But still early here. A lot of football to be played. Probably going to be the end of the quarter. Yeah. They're in no hurry here. 20 seconds accounting to go in this first. Well, they actually will get up under center, but will they actually snap it is the question. They're going to try to draw him off. They will snap it. Shit. And then Russ, incomplete. So, yeah. Now it's incomplete. 3rd down coming up, and he has to snap it again for sure with 2 seconds to play in this first quarter. When if you were to just let the clock run, as it seemingly they were going to do before they snapped it, it's like, all right, whatever. But Cincinnati, if they can get a stop, they're going to get the ball back now to begin the 2nd quarter. And then it's time possession. And then it's, the score the way it is, you're down 2 scores. It's just playing like ass. They're not playing smart. Fryermuth in motion. And Russ going to go deep far side, and it'll be caught. Pickens. Mike Williams, 18. And they say catch and a first down for the Steelers and the first. But replay, catch with a right down, drug the left. That's a catch. Yeah, that's a catch right there. Yep. So maybe there was a little bit of a spark for you now. Momentum to this drive. Go score some points. Sucks now you got to take a break right after that. Maybe not go hurry up. But hey, run the goddamn ball. Maybe take another shot. Maybe go down the middle. But obviously that wasn't looking good before that deep ball. Just making as much that they could have had, go wrong, for them there, do go wrong. So, yeah, just what the hell was that? They go from one commercial and, oh, nope, we're not showing this. We're going to show something else. But obviously we are on ABC, ESPN tonight. So, yeah, okay. They get a first down. Got a spark now, hopefully. Just try and score. Get some fucking points. Do something. Just don't do nothing. That's what's frustrating. They just love putting themselves in a hole like this, and then sometimes it's going to be a little too late to ass in gear and get themselves back into it. But sometimes, they do end up doing enough, and it, ends up working out for them. So really, once again, give yourself a chance to get this game in the 4th quarter. They're going to obviously have to score for one, but they need to start making some stops on defense. They did finally get to Burrow on that 3rd down, had a strip sack. They recovered, kicked the field goal. That's why it's 10-0 now. But big catch there by Mike Williams. He had one big catch and touchdown against Washington. Veterans Day weekend. Decent game against the Browns. The game after the Bengal game, early December. But other than that, he really hasn't done much. But 1st and 10, Pittsburgh here. They'll flip ends, so they'll now be going the way Cincinnati was in that first quarter. Left to right from 39-yard line. And Fryermuth in motion. Russ up under center, and they'll run Jalen Warren. and he gets 4 or 5 yards. Second down.
Dan Moore's his left tackle.
Well, that was so needed by this Pittsburgh offense. And, you know, if they had gone out again and then, you know, you're down 10 points, giving the ball back to Cincinnati and try to get something going. And I do know
Exactly. They need to do something.
when you're struggling a little bit, the way this really entire team is, it doesn't take much. You know, a play like that, what that can do to momentum and gain a little confidence and get something.
Second and 6 from the 35.
They need to have a good shot.
Toss it. Warren. About a yard. They're down again already. So, just don't take a sack here. Okay, get a couple yards if you're not going to get a first down and kick it.
Both guys are going to have to play well for the Bengals to win this game. And here's a
They like that inside toss.
for Texas A&M.
It's like they toss it and then they just keep going straight anyway rather than taking it outside. So it's going to be third and manageable, but you know, once again, don't take a sack. Trips in a bunch top of your screen. Austin in motion. Russ over the middle, incomplete on a slant. Flags come flying, and it'll be 15 and a first down. At least the defense as a whole is still going to be an automatic first down. As Cincinnati didn't realize, players at least on the defense side there, that there is a penalty on the play. They called PI, so 15 yards. Automatic first down. Okay, it'd be a spot foul. So it's not 15 yards. A good 6-7 yard penalty, but still first down. New set downs on third down. So first and 10 Pittsburgh, but Fryermuth pointed it out to the defender. Hey, you see that? That's PI. Yeah. And they did call it. So first and 10 Pittsburgh here. So now inside the 30, I mean, he'd like to get a touchdown out of this drive. I mean, if you still have to settle for 3, then okay. But Russ hands off Najee Harris up the middle, lowers a shoulder, boom for 11 yards and the Steeler first down. So they'll move to 6 again. Do it again. Do it again. Just a deep ball on a spark down the quarter. I mean, you win, the Bengals are done regardless of what happens tomorrow. And then the 7 seeds, either Miami or Denver. So they'll be helping out those 2 teams if Pittsburgh does win tonight. Because the Bengals need to win and then get help with both those teams losing to make the playoffs. But Russ up under center, handoff Najee Harris again for about 3, maybe 4 yards to the 20 or 15-yard line, excuse me. 12:55 and counting to play in this first half, but he's the only player with 1,000+ yards each in his last 4 years. And 1,200 his rookie year, and then a yard, and then 1 more yard, and then 1 less yard than his 2 years ago that he's sitting at right now. So give him to him again, 2nd and 7. Well, now he has, unless he loses yards now after this tonight, it'll be 3rd and short for Pittsburgh. 2nd most rushing yards he's had in a single season compared to the 1,200 he had his rookie year out of Alabama in 21. So they'll go hurry up, 3rd and a yard, and sneak it. Russ, I'd say he got that, yeah. And that's a good spot. First down Pittsburgh, so it'll be 1st and goal now Steelers inside the 10. You got to punch this in. You got to score a touchdown. Okay? No turnovers. Nothing stupid with penalties either. No turnovers, though. They had a couple turnovers in the end zone, let alone just turnovers in general this season. That's why they're once again sitting at 10-6. But 1st and 10, 1st and goal, Pittsburgh. From the 8, 1st and goal. Where's Fryermuth at? Play clock winding down, got to go, exactly. 3, 2, 1, they'll snap it. Hand off Naj again. Gonna try to bounce it, but pushed out after about a half a yard gain. So maybe cut back and go up the middle, go left now with it rather than near side. Got to score a touchdown here. Up the middle, Harris for 2, maybe 3. 3rd and goal from the 5. Come on, punch it in. And then do they go for it if, they got a 4th and goal, or do they kick it? I mean, I would think, any other time they'd probably kick it, but situation right now, you probably do end up going for it. Just knowing you're already in, and then just don't know where you're going next week. But then, because regardless of when this game's being played, you don't get if you go for it, they got to go the length of the field. So from the 6, they throw a fade and incomplete, intended for Darnell Wash, and they wanted a defense pass interference again. And are they going to get it? Yeah, there's a late penalty. So foul occurred in the end zone, be 1st and goal, Pittsburgh at the 1. Another pass interference by the Bengal defense on this drive. Yeah, foul occurred in the end zone there. So 1 yard line, 1st and goal for Pittsburgh. You got 4 plays to get a yard to score a touchdown. Okay, get up there and sneak it, hand it off. Just nothing stupid. Don't turn the ball over, okay? That's a good call again. I mean, he's clearly holding his left arm. He can't. Yeah, exactly. So 1st and goal, Pittsburgh at the 1. Out of the eye. And they'll hand off Najee Harris, and he walks in, touchdown Steelers. So, all right, they got a spark, have momentum, as they'll let the offensive line spike the ball, wave those terrible towels. And a 13-play, 73-yard, 6.5-minute touchdown drive. Just working the sticks. Got a couple penalties, obviously, on a couple DPIs, but they do drive and score a touchdown. So, and it's with the run game, Russ, other than the deep ball, which was the spark at the end of the first quarter. Boswell extra point up and good. 10-7 Bengals. We'll update some stats here in a minute, but 9:54 to play in the first half. So they got life. They got something to show for now. Still early, still a lot of football to be played, but so I was saying, just find a way to win this game, knock the Bengals out of contention, and then you're in as the 5 seed. You go to Houston next week. You don't have to worry about the Ravens up until, depending on what else happens in the playoffs. If it ever, comes to that. I'm not saying I'm scared of them, but just knowing how, Pittsburgh has fared as of late. But it's regardless of the opponent. Once again, the reason why they're 10-6 is because turnovers. So they don't turn the ball over, they're winning football games, regardless of who they're playing. And regardless of who they're playing, they turn the ball over, they're losing. So it's, one way or another. But just find a way to win. That's what matters. So they got a spark with a deep ball. Mike Williams on the catch in the first quarter, keep the drive going. And a couple defensive pass interference calls that were clearly penalties. It wasn't like they were getting the call. Those were clearly penalties. And don't end up having to settle for 3, which, you probably still take the points there. But like I was just saying, maybe they still go for it in that situation just because of the situation they're in. You're already in, and what do you have to lose? But they end up punching in, with a strong running game and a rushing touchdown there by Najee Harris. Here's an NFL playoff commercial. And, the wild card round. Next weekend, divisional round to follow. Conference championship at the end of the month. And then 2 weeks after that, you'll have Super Bowl 59. So aerial shot of the Steel City, Heinz Field, Acrisure Stadium. And, yeah, here we go, Steelers tonight. Playoffs begin next weekend, but with some Zombie Nation, we are Penn State and the Lions in the Orange Bowl next Thursday night. I'll have live play-to-play watch-along reactions live right here on YouTube then, as I'll take on the Golden Domers, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. So be sure to tune back in then live right here on YouTube. Bengals on the kickoff return, and they got some decent starting field position with a 3-point lead. They've been able to move the football, score a total of 10 points on 2 separate drives with a touchdown and a field goal. So, Pittsburgh just got the lead there with their touchdown. Got to get another stop on defense. So I'm saying stop the run, force pressure on Burrow, make him uncomfortable. So obviously a slow start once again, which is nothing new, but this defense got to crack down. They got to lock down, make some fucking stops. Out of the pistol, the handoff, there's a penalty on the play, maybe an illegal formation, illegal shift. Maybe somebody was offside, but a couple yards on the run. We'll see what the dirty laundry is. And they do say offside on Steeler defense on Alex Highsmith. So 5 yards. Yeah, they got him to jump. So it's going to be what? 1st and 5 from that last spot. Take that run off. Yeah, 1st and 5 from the 49. And Burrow fakes the give. Going to step up down the middle. Ooh. Incomplete, but with the bullet of the pass, hit the hands. It batted up in the air. And if Pittsburgh was there to catch it, they would have had a pick. Yeah. So incomplete, 2nd and 5. Trips in a bunch near side. They'll motion the back out. And Pittsburgh might have jumped off sides again. Cam Sutton on a corner blitz, but Mike Gesicki once more on the catch. Near side and a 1st down for the Bengals. So looks like some snow starting to fall. Doesn't seem like it's going to be anything major, though. Just some flurries. Nothing compared to, like I said, yesterday afternoon into overnight to today. And what's on the way as well over the next couple of days. So regardless of the weather, you're still going to play through it. Got to play in it. We saw how Cleveland was able to end up still beating the Steelers on the Thursday night in the snow. So, I mean, this is just football. It's cold, it's windy. Second and 8 from the Steeler 44. It's just hit them hard, make them feel the pain of, hey, this is how it's going to be tonight. Hand off for maybe 2-3 yards up the middle. But big 3rd down coming up. Can they get off the field or they get another 1st down? Third and 6 from the 42. Burrow, dump off, caught, and he's short. So 4th and a yard. Do they go for it or do they kick it? It'll be a long field goal. It'll be a good 55, 56 yarder. Looks like they're going to go for it. Do not jump off sides. No penalties at all here on defense, but 4th and a yard, stuff them. Come on, defense. Chase in motion. It's 4th and a long one. More like 2. And a slant, incomplete, turnover on downs. So the Steeler defense now making the stops you'd think they'd be making. Crowds getting into it. Offense, hey, go do the same thing you just did. Go drive and score. Tie this game up with a field goal at 10 apiece. Go score a touchdown. Take a lead. 6:33 to play in the half, I might add. Both teams still have all 3 timeouts. 2-minute warning as well. But, here we go again. Right before halftime, they have a little, on the board. Not much. They're still down here. But what's new with getting momentum right before halftime, getting the ball back to begin the second half, as they will, maybe you're tied, maybe you have a lead, but get a 2-for-1 here if you can. Like I said, 6.5 to play in the first half here. 2-minute warning with a couple timeouts. Go drive and score. Tie this game up, take a lead. You have momentum then going into halftime. 10 minutes from then, get the ball back to begin the second half. Go drive and score again. Have a little bit of a cushion then. And that's what I said. Just put the pressure on them in the second half, not yourself. Really get this game in the fourth quarter. And at the end of the day, just find a way to win it. And then if you do, like I said, you're the 5 seed. If you don't, Bengals still need help tomorrow with both the Dolphins and Broncos losing. And then, Pittsburgh's in regardless, win or loss tonight. But you'd like to have another win here and momentum heading into the postseason for sure. Like I said earlier, you don't want to drag yourself in. You don't. So, but big stop there by the defense, no doubt about it. Offense, they got to go do something. So we'll see if they can. But
Enjoy your boost. Sign up for ESPN Bet to receive your welcome bonus and your first 30 days of ESPN Plus on us. Congratulations to the Baltimore Ravens. They wrapped up the AFC North.
yeah, because the Steelers struggled down the stretch. Or else, if Baltimore would have lost earlier today and the Steelers win tonight, the Steelers are AFC North champs, are the 3 seed, and they're hosting the 6 seed then next week. Which could have been a mixture of, a few different teams, depending on who is in and who's not as a wild card. But 1st and 10 here, Pittsburgh from the 37.
6.5 to go.
Hand off. Jalen Warren going to get 3-4 yards. 2nd down.
Well, I think you talk about the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe, and what has to happen, them having to win here tonight, then they need help tomorrow. But with that said, I just think the job that Joe Burrow certainly and Zach Taylor as the head coach to get them even into a meaningful game.
Draw. Jalen Warren for another 3-4 yards. So, that's just old school 3 yards in a cloud of dust. But from the 45, 3rd and 3. Come on, get 1st down. Just don't go 3 and out here again. Russ, pass, incomplete near side on Van Jefferson. Still punt. So they're just going to have to rely on this defense tonight. Turnover would be nice. Score off of it then. Might be the difference, once all said and done. But that's just good coverage by the former Steeler, Mike Hilton. And the Steelers punt. And where are they going to mark it at? 10-yard line? 15-yard line? Yeah, low snap. And then almost got blocked. But able to coffin corner it the best he could. And about what? You know, like I said, 10, 15-yard line. We'll see officially where they spotted it when we come back. And we'll go from there. So 1st and 10 Bengals. Up 3, 10-7 here as we near halftime. Steeler defense, you know. Still be nice to get a stop here. You know, if they can hold them to what they have, a little on their phone, if they give up a field goal, you're still down 1 score, then at 6. You don't be down 10 again. Because, I mean, you had one big play, and with the momentum, you know, off the spark, you were able to drive and score. But offense right back to going 3 and out on that last drive. So, yeah, that's where we're at. And so they're just going to throw on the defense. And it's pressure up the middle. Cam Hayward, Keanu Benton, Watton Highsmith off the edge. You got Patrick Queen and Roberts in the middle linebacker. Minka in the back end. You know, Joey Porter Jr. at corner, back from injury tonight. No Dante Jackson, but Sean Elliott, a couple tackles this evening. You know, Beanie Bishop's workload's really diminished with Cam Sutton coming back, but he's played well at times. You know, at the nickel. They're getting Corey Trice some more playing time as well. Remember, they drafted him out of Western Michigan, I do believe. It was either them or Central or Eastern, but he was a rookie last year, was hurt all last year, and then they worked him back. Started to work him into the fold, started this year, and then he got hurt again, and then as of late, been playing some more. But here's a college football playoff commercial for the Final Four, the semifinals of the Orange and Cotton Bowls. It'll be Penn State, Notre Dame, and Texas, Ohio State next Thursday and Friday. Winners to play in the national championship game. So we are. But from the 16-yard line officially, 1st and 10 for the Bengals, up 3, 10-7. Burrow, all day to throw. All day to throw. He rolls out and then dumps it off. It's caught at the 20 and 8, 9 yards on the reception on the catch and run to his tight end. So 2nd and a yard, but there is a flag on the play. So Burrow had all day to throw. An eligible man downfield again on the Bengals. So they'll replay the down. It'll be 1st and 15 back at, what, the 11?
Let's take a look. They got Cordell Bolson prior possession.
Well, there's only so much the lineman can do when the quarterback has all day to throw and you're continuing to block, and then, you know, yeah, you're just going to keep moving. So 1st and 15 from the 11. Take the penalty, no doubt about it. That screen's caught, and they get to the 15, so it'll be 2nd and 11 now. Ooh. And then some pushing and shoving. Burrow, pass, complete chase, and they wrap him up. So 3rd down and about 4, maybe 5 here for the Bengals.
He's played every position pretty much. And,
Come on, defense. 3rd and 3. An empty set 5 wide. Play clock winding down, they get it off. Burrow going to get sacked. Down he goes. And 91, Preston Smith, the former Packer, who they traded for at the deadline, able to bring him down. Yeah, just... They normally have him line up on the outside. He lined up on the inside in the 4-3 and just got off his block, and Burrow was right there, and he wrapped him up for the sack. So as back-to-back drives, they get the hell off the field with, sacks. But offensively, Calvin Austin fucking fumbles the punt return. God damn it. You gotta be kidding me. Just about to say, the offense needs to fucking do something here before halftime off of. The defense, getting the hell off the field, but then they fucking fumble the punt return. And guess what? Turnovers for the Steelers. They turn the ball over, they lose. They don't turn the ball over, they win. Okay? Plain and simple, end of story. That is why they are 10-6. And just, yeah. Ball comes out, and they're right there to recover it, and drop the defense back out. Ask them to do fucking everything for you. So, Bengals ball, first time from the Steeler 33. So, they're already in field goal range. And a late whistle, penalty on the play. They'll say false start, back them up 5 yards. So, it'll be 1st and 15 from the 38 now to begin this drive. But, that's hopefully not a costly turnover, especially right before halftime. You're down 3, cough it up. 10th straight game with a fucking turnover. That's just, that's inexcusable. I mean, they're trying to get the stench off of them. Quit playing fucking JV Pee-wee football. I mean, you're in the NFL for God's sakes, and you shoot yourselves in the foot. Well, yeah, you deserve to fucking lose then. But, good God. Burrow gonna roll out, and it's high, but it's caught. And some more pushing and shoving, but yeah, that, especially the defense gets off the field again for you, and then you turn the ball over on the punt return. So the offense didn't even have a chance, but who knows? It might, and probably wouldn't have done anything anyway, knowing them. You don't know, though. Been a big drive potentially for the offense if they could have, drove and scored, tied this game up, took a lead into halftime with momentum, but then they turned the ball over. So that's why I said hopefully this doesn't turn into the cost of turnover, and, Cincinnati scores off of it to extend their lead going into halftime, and then you're still playing from behind, in the second half. Still needing the defense to make stops for you. But in the meantime, we have the 2-minute warning, 2 minutes to play in this first half. Bengals lead the Steelers 10-7. Both teams still have all 3 timeouts, so Steeler defense going to have to, get another fucking stop here. So, I mean, this is what it is. You got to play through it. It's frustrating. Turnovers. You thought they had been sick and tired of turning the ball over. This ain't Thanksgiving, this ain't Christmas. We're into the new year now, all right? I mean, but it's just, same old Steelers with all the turnovers they've had. So what's new? It's frustrating. Especially 10th straight game with a turnover. And they're coming off of a 3-game losing streak. Try not to lose 4 in a row to end the regular season for the first time since 1998. Okay, that's almost 30 years. But, once again, they're 10-6. You're looking at at least 2, maybe 3 more wins if they don't turn the ball over the way they did. And then the past few, they turn the ball over being down, but on drives to potentially tie the game up. And then who knows what happens from there. So, I mean, it still is what it is, but
Cancer and cause fetal harm. Drink plenty of fluids, urinate often, use contraception, and talk to your doctor about ways to reduce the
it's
risk of exposing
just,
others to radiation during and
all
after
right, playoffs, yeah, they're in, but they
kidney problems.
shot themselves in the foot way too damn much with turnovers and lost the games they lost, or else maybe they're hosting a playoff game now next week compared to, having to go on the road. Regardless, win or loss tonight. But then when you're a 5 seed, loss, still potentially a 5 seed depending on what happens tomorrow, but like I said, probably a 6. And then it's the opponent of the Houston Texans or the Baltimore Ravens again. So they'll have first half reactions, recap what happened earlier, preview tomorrow. We'll have first half stats and scores. We'll preview tomorrow, preview what's to come in college football as well. But playoffs begin next week, and it's win or go home then. It's a one-game season. So 2 minutes to play here in the half. Bengal ball up 3-10-7. And they're going to look to score off this turnover and extend their lead on a 2nd and 6 now from 29. Come on, defense. What do you got? And Burrow's pass caught in the flat, but Patrick Queen on the tackle right away. So they might give him a yard, but all right, no gain. 3rd down. Steelers call a timeout. They called timeout there? I thought they did. And then you call another one if you get a stop here. Force a kick. You're down still. 1 score at 6. Then you get the ball back to go do something before halftime. Maybe cut it with a field goal, 13-10 if they'd make theirs. If you got to kick another field goal early, 3rd quarter, getting the ball back to begin the second half, tied at 13, then okay, so be it. You'd love touchdowns, though. Yeah, they called a timeout. Minute 57 to play as they reset the clock. Be 3rd and 6. So you get a stop here, call another timeout. You have a timeout and time to go drive and score before half. And then you get the ball back to begin the second half. So this might be the last play for the Bengal offense for quite a while. Strip sack again. TJ Watt got to him, but the Bengals able to recover. But hey, timeout, timeout, timeout. Flag on the play, so clock's going to stop. Maybe, no, don't call timeout. But ball back to the 40, so now they're out of field goal range, unless the refs bail them out here with the penalty. What's the penalty? Holding on the Steeler defense. And a crucial 5-yard automatic first down. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'll live with that. They're calling it down the middle tonight. I'm not arguing that. That's just fucking wrong place, wrong time. It's only 5 yards, an automatic first down, but they had him back to the 40 off of the strip sack. Probably going to punt. Not kick a long field goal, pin the Steelers deep with a timeout, a minute and a half to play, whatever. But now, 1st and 10, 24-yard line, couple yards there, 2nd down coming up for the Bengals. And now they're probably not going to be in any hurry. Pittsburgh, that is, to call their timeouts, no doubt. But Cincy at the same point in time, even with a minute and a half and 3 timeouts, that's an eternity from inside the 20, 25-yard line here. 2nd and 7 from the 21, so, it comes down to they'll kick a field goal, they're going to hope to score a touchdown. They blow that dead very late. Penalty on the play. Starting to get chippy. We know how these two teams, play this time of year. Because everybody in the AFC North hates each other to begin with. They're on HBO Max right now with Hard Knocks, the end season. They say false start on the Bengals. So back them up 5 yards and replay it down. But, that's clear a false start before the ball snapped. So no completion over the middle. But 10-second runoff on that. Yeah. 10-second runoff. Declined it, so it stays at what it is. So, you know, obviously, yeah, you want to try to keep as much time on your side as you can. You don't take that, because then that's 10 less seconds that you have if you do get the ball back. But it's 10 more seconds that they have to do something if they, you know, continue to drive. So it's a win-win, lose-lose situation. But depending on, you know, that, it's just, you still got to go out and make a play, and you don't take that 10 seconds. You just don't. Nobody does. Unless it's like the end of the game and, you know, because you don't want to give them time. Over the middle, is that picked? Intended for Chase. Queen on the coverage. Was that intercepted? We just talking about Beanie Bishop, his workload being down because of Cam Sutton returning and playing, but the Beanie Baby, the rookie out of West Virginia, might have just picked off Joe Burrow, and they're celebrating as if he did. So, and they'll get the ball back here with 2 timeouts and 1:08 to play. One play after the false start, and then the 10-second runoff. No. Yeah, Queen on the coverage. Yeah, that's a pick. Queen on the coverage. Ball was, you know, just bouncing around in the air, and then he was able to make the catch. So, and speaking of West Virginia, they give us the Stu Virginia Allstate commercial. So Pittsburgh with 2 timeouts, 1:08. Gonna, hey, right back where they just were, off of a, you know, fumble punt return. Defense gets the hell off the field. Offense, you got to go do something. Go score. Go kick a field goal, tie this game up at 10 before half. Get the ball back to begin the second half with momentum. Take a lead. Take a lead here before halftime would be even better. You know, 14-10. Go score a touchdown here with 2 timeouts and 1:08 to play, which, if you can get out of bounds a play or two, that's going to be an eternity. Obviously, you're going to have to go good 75, 80 yards here, but, you know, cut that in half. That's field goal range for you, for the most part, with Boswell's leg. Be kicking towards the river. So, once again, I get it cold. It's windy as well, so we'll see what they do. It's probably really going to depend on the first 2 plays of this drive. And then, well, Cincinnati can get a stop. They'll probably call a timeout or 2 themselves to try to get the ball back themselves. But you're hoping to score here before half. I mean, I'll take a field goal, and then you're tied at 10 then, but you have momentum, and then you're getting the ball back in the second half, and then you work from that. But I would love a touchdown for sure. Go 13, 14, 10. Have a lead for the first time tonight. Get the ball back still to begin the second half as you're going to. And then if you got to kick a field goal, then you're up 1 score at 7, let alone 1 score at 3 if you got to, you know, kick a field goal here. But if you can score 2 touchdowns here, make it a 2-score game at 11 early mid-third quarter, that'd be even better. The defense playing the way they are now, because the Bengals, their first 2 drives, 10 points, but then back-to-back punts, and then the turnover there. So, and, you know, Pittsburgh getting the ball back. So the offense got to go do something, man. 1st and 10 from the 17-yard line. Yes, they got a ways to go. They have 32 takeaways this year, which is the most in the league, but they've also turned it over as much as they have. And, you know, that's, you know, once again, why they're 10-6. That pass deflected, almost picked off, falls incomplete, 2nd and 10. You know, because they turn the ball over in situations of really cost them, let alone as that pass complete, Freiermuth first down and push out of bounds, so the clock's going to stop. But then they had some turnovers they couldn't capitalize on, or else they probably would have won a couple other games, you know, this season too. But minute 1, new set of downs, the 28, down 3, 10-7 here. Still got 2 timeouts. Russ is going to throw, roll out far side, and it's incomplete. Intended for Pickens. So 2nd and 10 with 54 seconds, down 3 with those 2 timeouts still. So you're looking at another 22, you know, 35, 38, 40 yards to get in a field goal range. Once again, you'd love a touchdown, but I'll take 3 if it comes down to it. Russ, quick pass, complete. Fryermuth again, upfield, stumbling, but looks to have enough for another first down as he gets out of bounds in the meantime, so the clock's going to stop. Yeah. Well, fucking run it again. You know? Maybe, hey, take a fucking shot. They're going to review the previous play for where he stepped out, I guess. Rather than him being short or they give him the first down. So replay assist real quick. It's going to be second and short for the Steelers. But remember, he still got out of bounds, so the clock's going to stop. No, it's second down because that was first and 10. Or no, that was second and 10 because that pass over on the far side was incomplete to Pickens. So this is third and short. That is right. Third and short. Fuck. Just get first down. You got 2 timeouts still, and then work from there. Russ up under center, and they'll sneak it. I don't know. All right, gets first down. Yeah, timeout, yes. So they'll have a timeout in 47 seconds. I mean, yeah, that's what you do there. They're going to line up to go hurry up, but they already called a timeout. Now, offense center realized they called it from the sideline. So there's Joe Buck, Troy Aikman on the call for ABC ESPN here tonight. Lisa Salters down on the sideline. Well, it's been a tale of 2 quarters. You know, Cincinnati had the early lead. Pittsburgh's, scored, and the defense making stops, and offense got to score again, hopefully, here. And then you're going to have momentum going into halftime, get the ball back in the second half, and then we'll see what happens from there. Once again, Steelers win, they're the 5 seed. They're going to go on the road next week. Very well could be the last home game of the season here tonight, depending on what happens. I mean, even as the 5 seed, they could still host in the playoffs if they keep winning. Depending on what happens. They obviously have to have the team in front of them lose, but third and short. I think he got the first down. This probably give us the best look. Yeah, that's a first down, I'd say.
The ball is short, so I expect a reversal. And if it is, it'll be 4th down.
Well, yeah, and then 4th inches, and then you can just call timeout to save Cincinnati time, and then you're going to have to fucking punt, because you sure as hell aren't going to go for this and then not get it and then give them a short field to work with. So they'll take a break. So now it's... I don't know what to say about that. I don't. That's just frustrating. So... That couldn't have gone any fucking worse. If this is going to be 4th down now. Like, how the hell does that happen? You know?
Yeah, abomination. So I think it tastes great. It's crispy. The sauce is good. I personally like it. Oh. I laughed because I thought it was a joke.
Don't be a nugget of Nelly. Everyone loves Taco Bell's new crispy chicken nuggets, even the person we paid not to.
Next week, good things always happen when Coach Prime Deion Sanders comes live to GMA. Plus, Tim Allen live and Davey's cooking things up for you on Hi, Dad. I need a place to stay until I figure out what the rest of my life looks like.
So, a couple of days.
You weren't my first choice. There was a doomsday cult I had my eye on, but...
So back from break.
Was just made by John Hussey that Russell Wilson was indeed tapped down by...
So they say he's short. It's 4th and inches now for the Steelers. And they just called that timeout. Save Cincinnati time and their 3 timeouts. And like I said, you're not going to go for this now. You're going to have to punt and pin them deep, make them drive. Because you don't give them a short field if you go for it and don't get it.
As a defense, if you're anticipating quarterback sneak,
I mean, maybe you're on a fake, but...
You would put defenders in those gaps.
And then Tomlin's probably going to argue, well, I want my timeout back, and this clock should be fucking running since you guys reviewed it. It's 4th and inches. How the fuck did that just happen? Seriously. That's just... I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what to say about that. I don't. That's just boom, boom, boom. They're going to line up to go for it. They better fucking get this. Yeah, try to draw them off, but Tomlin's getting an explanation on everything. He wants his timeout back is what he wants. And he's like, all right, whatever, I'm not going to get it. Now we got a delay. Yeah, they don't want to use their timeout now. We get that much. That's what I've been saying. So no 10-second runoff. The Steelers are going to get their timeout back. Because then the Bengals, they're checking with them. Do you want to call it to stop the clock yourself? Because then if not, it's going to wind once they blow the whistle. And then the Steelers go for it on 4th down still. Yeah. So now both teams have 2 timeouts left. There's the playoff picture. We'll get into that later, depending on what happens here. Because, like I said, the Bengals got to win and get help tomorrow in order to make it. 4th and a yard. Pittsburgh going to line up to go for it. From your own fucking 37-yard line. They'll run it. Warren, I don't know. It's going to depend on that spot right there. They'll say 1st down. Thank you. Go, go, go. Well, he was never down. He was on top of the guy. And he got rolled up. But then they signaled 1st down. Move those chains. And is it a 1st down? They're going to look at it. So Tomlin ain't going to call timeout just yet. They say 1st down Steelers. Oh, now they say he's short. And now it's 1st down Cincinnati. Come on. Where's he down at? Oh, his ass right there. Before he got rolled and... Good God. So now the Bengals, short field. Talk about a sequence. From a fumble on a punt return... to then the interception, to then a turnover on downs, to the Bengals still getting the ball back from the 38-yard line with 48 seconds and 2 timeouts, up 3 to extend their lead before halftime. Jesus fucking Christ. Good God. Come on, defense. And over the middle, caught by Chase. Be 2nd and about 3. They call a timeout. They'll have 1 left. Like, how the hell does that happen? Like, that's just wild with all that. And all the reviews they just had. Yeah. Had a 1st down. Had an incompletion. He was short. And then it's 4th down, and then he's short again, so turnover on downs, and... yeah. Burrow dump off on a tight end screen, and lowering the boom, but he's going to be short. Well, now they say 1st down. Maybe he's short. Maybe it's a 1st down again. Who the hell knows at this rate? Yeah, I would be too. Bengals call their 3rd and final timeout. So, yeah, depending on the spot here. John Hussey with a P. So they say first down. All right. But remember, the Bengals have no timeouts with 31 seconds here. So tackle them in bounds and wind the fucking clock. Obviously, they can get up and spike it, and clock it. They get out of bounds. All right, but and obviously you have a couple timeouts to ice them if they kick a field goal. But tackle them in bounds. They have no timeouts. Burrow near side high, but caught by Higgins at the 10-yard line. And they get out of bounds, so clock stops, I might add, as well. So now they got a first and goal. Looks like they'll spot at the 9. Yeah, first and goal, Bengals at the 9 with 27 seconds to play in the half. But remember, they still don't have any timeouts. Chase in motion. Burrow dumps off on the screen. It's incomplete. Been better if he would have been caught it and then tackled right away there by Peyton Wilson. But yeah, Watt was being held. Still almost got to Burrow on a sack. So 23 seconds with second and goal here from the 9 for the Bengals. And over the middle, it's batted down, incomplete. Third and goal from the 9. Come on, defense. I mean, once again, at this rate, just force a kick, get turnover again if you can, but tackle them in bounds. They don't have any timeouts. Clock's going to wind. And then it's, third and goal right now. Get the fourth and goal. They can't clock it. You don't get a fifth and goal. Okay, this ain't Colorado, Michigan from 30 years ago. But 21 seconds. Third and goal from the 9. Tackle them in bounds. Clock's going to run. They're going to have to run the field goal unit out. Burrow, pass in the end zone. Incomplete, intended for Jamar Chase. So now they'll just kick it with 16 seconds. Yeah. They'll take the 3. But a wild sequence here to end the half. Just from one turnover to the next, and then a turnover on downs, and now forcing a kick. So hope for a miss. But then with little time, and even with a timeout or two for yourself, do you do anything? Probably not. You probably just take a knee and go into halftime. By 27-yard field goal here for the Cincinnati Bengals to go up 6, which is still one score. Kicks up and good. So 13-7 now. They lead. And lucky that's only a field goal, not a touchdown, with everything that just happened. Remember, since you go out to an early 10-0 lead, you do end up scoring. You're getting stops on defense. And then that's just a wild, like I said, back and forth the past couple minutes. And lucky to only, give up 3 there. Because it could be a hell of a lot worse. You should probably have some points yourself, but you don't. It is what it is. You're still going to get the ball back here to begin the second half. So they're going to have to go do something offensively. Still rely on the defense as well to get stops. But 13-7 here. 16 seconds. And whether they have the timeouts or not here. They have 2, but they probably won't do anything unless they get a decent return. Then maybe you do something. But they'll honestly probably just take a knee and head into half, I bet. Then get the ball back to begin the second half. So I'll leave it at that, and we'll update some stats here at halftime and preview tomorrow in the NFL for Week 18. College football playoff as well. Talk little playoff, as they'll show the wild card schedule for next weekend. Yeah, there's 2 games next Saturday, same time as they were today. 3 games next Sunday, and then Monday Night Football. And Pittsburgh's going to be going on the road as the 5 or the 6 seed to Houston or Baltimore, depending on what happens here tonight, and then tomorrow as well. So, yeah, we'll get into that as well. But touchback on the kick, 1st and 10 from 30. Here comes a draw, I bet. No, Ruskosh going to throw, but he takes a sack. So, yeah, that does it for the first half. Bengals lead the Steelers at halftime 13-7. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, that does it for the first 30. So, yeah, Pittsburgh will get the ball back to begin the second half, but you'd like to have a couple more points than you do, but they don't, so it is what it is. Offense got to go do something, man. I mean, I'll take my points with field goals, especially down 6, 13-7. Kick a field goal, get a stop, kick a field goal, tie it up, but aggressive, yeah, they got to fucking score points. They got to score touchdowns. Yeah, opening drive. 40-yard line, they go 3 and out. But so I don't know, man. I don't. Right now, I don't. I mean, yeah, they're in the playoffs, but you want to eliminate Cincinnati while you can, you know, because they lose, they're done. They win, they still need help tomorrow with both the Dolphins and Broncos losing. They can have a Dolphin tie, I might add, as well, to still get in, but because if that happens, they're in as a 7 seed. But if they lose tonight, they win tonight, one of 2 happens tomorrow, they're still not in. But if they win tonight and both teams lose tomorrow, they're in. But it's really about yourself, you know. Who cares, you know, if they get in? But you still got to take care of business, you know. If you lose, they still have a chance. You win, they're done. And then it's down to Miami, Denver for the 7 seed. And if you win, you're the 5 seed. Yeah, because it could be a hell of a lot worse. It probably could be a good 2, 2.5, 3 scores right now. But it is 13-7. And they're going to get the ball back to begin the second half. So where the fuck did the running game go? You know? I mean, they're running the ball pretty well, and then they just... I don't think they've abandoned it. It's just been Cincinnati's been making some stops. But with the one score it is, I'd get back to the run game if I'm the Steelers. Rock and Naj, let Warren bulldoze his way forward. They got to take some more shots. They got to score touchdowns, you know. Pickens really nowhere to be found tonight. Fryer with a couple catches for a couple yards. But like, they couldn't even get a fucking yard on, 3 straight plays, for God's sakes, and then Cincinnati gets a field goal out of it. When you could have got points off of their turnover, you know. When you, prior to that, got off the field and didn't allow them to get points off of your turnover. So, like I said, yeah, early 10-0 lead, and then you do score, defense locking down. But then just wave emotions there, back and forth, to end the half. And, I mean, ugly at times, yeah, but they're still in it, so that's what matters. Still another half to be played. Just got to go out and find a way. So if they can get another big play to go their way, get another spark, drive and score off of it, you know, whether that's early third quarter here, getting the ball back to me in the second half or not, just whenever it's going to be. So I want to get out of hand. Like I said, get this game to the fourth quarter with a chance. I said earlier, like I said, felt it was going to be total opposite of what the shootout was a month ago when these two teams played. First and 20 probably wins this game tonight. Bengals are 7 away. Steelers only have 7 on the board themselves, but just, yeah, give yourself a chance and find a way to win this game. You win, you're the 5 seed. You lose, you still might be the 5 seed, but you're probably the 6 seed. But see what happens. So, yeah, update some stats here. Thanks for tuning in and watching. As Burrow, 21 of 27, 153 yards passing, touchdown to Jamar Chase on the opening drive, interception, but Pittsburgh could not capitalize off of it. And then he's been sacked twice. More pressure on Joe Burrow. Along with stopping the run, they have, for the most part, Khalil Herbert, 9 carries, 27 yards rushing. So, I mean, yeah, they're shutting him down for the most part. Yeah, only averaging 3 yards a run. But Burrow, for the most part, has had all day to throw. You know, they forced pressure a couple of times, got to him on sacks twice. A couple strip sacks, but couldn't recover them. Interception, yeah, but couldn't score off of it. So, luckily, they didn't score off your turnover, but they scored off your turnover on downs and got 3 points. You know, so at least it's just a 1-score, 6-point game right now. Could be worse. Chase, 5 catches, 41 yards, and a touchdown. T. Higgins, 3 of 38. Mike Gesicki with 5 catches, 38 yards as well. Herbert, 4 of 14 out of the backfield. Andre the Giant, Yoshavash, 1 of 9. Grandy, 1 of 9. Drew Samples, 2 catches, 4 yards. And then Cade York, as many points the Steelers have total, 7, as he's good on his extra point, and then 2 of 2 on field goals with a long of 48. Pittsburgh, Russ is 4 of 8 for 45 yards passing in the first half. He's also been sacked twice. Najee Harris with 9 carries, 35 yards rushing, and a touchdown. Jalen Warren, 5 of 12. Probably like to get him going a little bit more if they can, but continue to rock the Najee as well. Mike Williams, 1 catch, 25 yards. That was the spark that allowed the drive to continue, and they ended up scoring a touchdown out of it. Pat Freiermuth, 2 of 20, but nothing to Pickens, nothing to Van Jefferson, nothing to Calvin Austin, let alone nothing to Darnell Washington, even though he did draw the penalty in the end zone, which then set up the rushing touchdown. But Corey Trice with 6 tackles, 1 for loss. Patrick Queen has 1 for loss, as well as does Preston Smith. And they have 2 sacks. Those are Queen and Smith as well. And both of those actually, yeah, were strip sacks, but they could not recover. Beanie Bishop with the interception. And Boswell only 1 point on his extra point. So 13-7 Bengals lead the Steelers here at halftime. Overall team stats. Bengals have 11 first downs compared to the Steelers' 8. They're 3 of 7 on third down, where Pittsburgh's 2 of 5. They're both 0-1 on fourth down. Bengals have 12 more total plays because they've had the ball for 9, almost 10 more minutes than the Steelers have. Yeah, just Pittsburgh has a better running game, but Burrow just picking them apart defensively for the most part. Both have scored in the red zone, but 8 total penalties for 35 yards, 6 of 25 for the Bengals, 2 of 10 against the Steelers. Both with turnovers, 1 apiece, but not able to score off of either, even though the Bengals did score and kick the field goal with turnover on downs just prior to halftime. So not counting the fumble by Pittsburgh on the punt return and then the interception, because then the Steelers still gave the ball back off that turnover on downs, and then Bengals kicked the field goal just prior to halftime. So, yeah, 13-7 half. Week 18 in the NFL here. We go. Yeah, Ravens beat the Browns earlier, so they clinched the AFC North. It was going to be, if the Ravens lost today and Pittsburgh would win tonight, Pittsburgh's AFC North champion. But with Baltimore winning, They're the AFC North champs. So Pittsburgh, win or loss tonight, they're still in the playoffs, but it's 5 or 6 seed. So at halftime, Bengals lead the Steelers 13-7. Pittsburgh gets the ball back in the second half. Tomorrow in the NFL, we'll have officially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, make it 7, 8 1 o'clock games. 5 4 o'clock games, and then obviously Sunday Night Football, which is game 272 in the regular season before the playoffs begin in the wildcard round next weekend. And Pittsburgh will either be at Houston or Baltimore. So we'll have more info on that later once we find out. But won't officially know when the game is until tomorrow night when they release the full schedule. So we'll see. As we've known, the schedule's been all over the place as of late. They haven't played a 1 o'clock Sunday game since they beat the Browns at home on December the 8th. They haven't played a Sunday game in general since 10 days before Christmas at Philadelphia. So from a Sunday to a Saturday before Christmas at Baltimore, they played on a Wednesday afternoon on Christmas, a week and a half ago at home against the Chiefs, and then here we are Saturday night at home against the Bengals, and the playoffs begin next weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday night potentially. But tomorrow in the NFL for Week 18, in the NFC South, Panthers, Falcons. Washington will be in Dallas, taking on the Cowboys, as they're in the playoffs, but the boys aren't, already eliminated. Bears will be in the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, taking on the Green Bay Packers. Texans, who Pittsburgh could potentially play next week, in Music City, taking on the Tennessee Titans. Jags, Colts. Bills, Patriots. Giants, Eagles, as Saquon Barkley will not break the all-time single-season NFL rushing yards record tomorrow because he will not play against his former team, even though he needs only 101 yards to break Eric Dickerson's all-time single-season rushing record. He will rest, and then they'll host a playoff game next week. Saints, Bucks. As the NFC South still has not been decided, it's going to be either Atlanta or Tampa Bay, though, depending on what happens tomorrow. The Chiefs are the 1 seed in the AFC. They'll be in Denver. I guess they're having some trouble getting there because of the weather. But, Denver fighting for the 7th seed, as is Miami and the Cincinnati Bengals. So we'll see who gets in and who's, out and on the next year already. But Chargers, Raiders tomorrow as well. Seahawks, Rams. Dolphins, Jets. And then the Niners will be in the desert, taking on the Cards. And for the number 1 seed in the NFC, for the NFC North, Vikings, Lions is Sunday Night Football, game 272 in the NFL for the regular season before the playoffs begin next week. And once again, the wild card round, we'll have 2 games next Saturday, 3 games next Sunday, and then Monday Night Football. But from now until then, though, with the Sunday games in Week 18 for the National Football League, we'll have the college football playoff semifinals and the Final Four next Thursday and Friday night, respectively, with the Orange and Cotton Bowls, Penn State, Notre Dame, and Texas, Ohio State. I'll have La Play Watch Long Actions live right here on YouTube Thursday night with the Orange Bowl, the Nittany Lions and Fighting Irish. So be sure to tune back in live right here on YouTube then, and we are. So, about to kick off the second half. We'll see what happens. Pittsburgh to receive. Offense got to get rolling once more. Score touchdowns. I mean, I'll take my field goal if it comes down to it. But, leave it at that. And just, once again, thanks for tuning in and watching my live play. Watch Long Actions this evening, live right here on YouTube, with the Cincinnati Bengals and Pittsburgh Steelers. It's NFL Week 18. I'm your host, Encyclopedia Sports, Quinn Luke 96. So be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on social media. Links in the description below. That'll be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Hit the red subscribe button for Spinix as well as up to date. Thumbs up button. Share hashtag NFL, hashtag Steelers. Chat questions and comments. Super chat, super sticker, super likes, super thanks. Always great appreciate it as well. And away we go. Kick off the second half and touch back on the kick. So 1st and 10 Steelers from the 30-yard line. From left to right, from the hills to the river. And there's Joe Buck Aikman in the booth. Lee Salters, once again, former Lion women's basketball player down on the sideline. And that's what I was saying. Where'd the run game go? You know? And you're lucky it's a one-score game. I'd fucking run the football in the second half. Get momentum. They need a spark, though, for sure. Need a big play. Maybe get a turnover, too, defensively. Score off of it might be the difference. But 1st and 10, Pittsburgh here from the 30. Fryermuth in motion. They'll toss Najee Harris far side, but he's going to be tackled for a 4-yard loss. So 2nd and 14 to begin the second half. As the Steelers are going to try to sweep the Bengals for the second season, I might add, with a win tonight, and with a win, they'll be the 5 seed. They lose, they still could be the 5 seed, but probably going to be the 6 seed. So, see what happens. Just find a way to win this game. And the Bengals, hey, they don't have anything to fucking lose because they need to win and get help to make the playoffs. So, they're going to give it all they got. Russ up under center. Dump off on a screen to Najee. And he gets 6 yards, so it'll be 3rd and 8. You know, if you want to lost a couple yards, you get that. You got 3rd and short right now, but just behind the sticks. And then it's, hard to, get back to. So, this might be the final half of a home Steeler game this year. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, where's the intermediate, to it, though? That's the thing. 3rd and 8. Russ near side, incomplete. 10 for Calvin Austin. So they'll go 3 and out in a minute and a half to begin the second half and fucking punt. Rely on this defense way too damn much, man. Way too fucking much. So they'll punt. And from the 18 on the punt return. And they get a decent return to the 35, 36-yard line. Snow starting to fall a little bit with some more flurries. But like I said, I don't really think it's going to start sticking and impact this game by any means. Even with all the snow that central and western Pennsylvania had yesterday afternoon and overnight into the day. But more snow on the way, tomorrow on Monday. But still cold and still windy, so gotta make a fucking play. Need to stop on defense and try to not lose 4 in a row to end the regular season for the first time since 1998. I might add once more. So just find a way. Find a way.
Visiting the Bergs.
So 1st and 10 Bengals here to begin the second half. Still holding a 6-point, 13-7 lead. Ball at the 36-yard line after the punt return. So defense needs to stop. Defense needs to stop, man. We'll see if they give us one or not. Burrow caught at midfield by Higgins. So 1st and 10, and I mean, they score with a field goal. Touchdown is 2 scores. 16-7 is 9 points. That's 2 scores. Because you can't get more than 8 on, a 1-score touchdown with a 2 points. So, you score a touchdown, you're still down 2 scores, but it's even more of a hole at, 13, 14 points, depending if they go 2. But just, yeah. They got to get a stop defensively, man. They got to get a stop. Burrow, empty set. That's a hold. Come on. Pass complete. Gesicki again near side for a 1st down.
There is a contract extension that has to be made with Jamar Chase going into next year, it would seem.
Yeah, and Joe Burrow, he's kind of made it known.
Here, buddy.
I don't know that he's been so much subtle about it. He handles, I think, all of it very well. He's done what he can without being totally disruptive.
1st and 10 from 38. Burrow, pass caught, missed tackle. They wrap up Chaso, Trice, and Peyton Wilson. This was pretty impressive.
1990 Sterling Sharp did it in 1992. Steve Smith Sr. in 2005 and Cooper Kupp. The championship year for the Rams in 2021.
They say Sterling Sharp's career got cut short because of a neck injury.
From the 31, 2nd and 3, they stuff him, but then he still pushes the pile and looks like they're going to give him a 1st down. Yeah. 1st down Bengals. They're going to try to work some clock here, I would think, too. Being up the 6 they are, and then they're already controlling time of possession. Work some more clock, extend your lead, and put the pressure on Pittsburgh. Pass complete again. Chase near side, inside the 20. See the spot. Cam Sutton on the tackle. He's going to be about a half-yard shy. As we hit 10 o'clock with under 10 to play in this 3rd quarter. Handoff on a draw for another 1st down for the Bengals.
Picks up the 1st down as he gets 6.
Come on, defense. I mean, if only the offense, was able to do more than go 3 and out. Well, there only 1 touchdown drive tonight. I mean, probably a hell of a lot closer. I mean, it's still only a 1-score game, but that's why I said they give up a score here. Whether it be a field goal or touchdown, you're down 2 scores, mid to late 3rd quarter here. So from the 13, 1st and 10. Burrow, quick pass, caught, but they wrap him up after about a 2-yard pickup. Yeah, Trice's been playing well tonight.
Sample, he's going to start thinking he's Burrow's #1 target after tonight. He's got a couple balls now thrown to him. He typically doesn't get too much action in the receiving department. He's usually in there to just block.
Even with 16 catches on the year, he's got 3 tonight. Second down, the ball sitting at the 11.
Come on, defense. Ball at the 11, 2nd and 8. So they got a couple shots here. Punch it in. Trips far side. Play clock winding down. Then get it off. Dump off on the screen. And where are they going to mark it at? 5? Be 3rd and 2. Got the 6, 3rd and 3.
This is the matchup you certainly like. Peyton Wilson, he is really their cover running back.
Yeah, that's a good spot. 3rd and 3 at the 6. Come on, man. Keep him out of the end zone. Force a kick. They'd rather only be down 9 than fucking 13 or 14 points. Still 2 scores, though. Still pressured on. You know, still got to do something. But Burrow looking to throw. Avoids a sack. And then down he goes. They're up him up back of the 20. Herbig. And Burrow slow to get up. And he's down. He's got Grask in the face mask, and he is slow to get up. He's just laying there. It might be his neck, which hopefully he's okay. Never want to see anybody get hurt. Oh, he just went down face first. Herbig and Hayward. Yeah. Face mask full of grass. And yeah, hopefully he's okay. Never want to see anybody get hurt. I mean, that's just a tackle, though. You know, they'll say, "Oh, well, they threw him in the ground." No, he just got sacked. You know, and then all that weight on top of you, especially from behind when you're going down, you have no control over that. And like, yeah, face first into the ground with all that pressure and weight. Most definitely, you'd think probably concussion. Hopefully, it's not like a serious neck injury. I mean, he's in Pittsburgh though, so they have good doctors to begin with, but then good doctors for neck and head. So yeah, hopefully he's okay. Never see him get hurt. But then the season he's had, in the MVP conversation, they're 8-8, fighting for their season and playoff lives. Winning, get help they're in. But now it's like, well, who knows what's going to happen? But at this rate, I don't know if he'll be back. Because obviously you got concussion protocol. Got to clear that to come back. And if he's laying there and he's moving, it's not like he, wasn't moving or anything like that. But, yeah, that's going to be a tough one. I mean, at least if it's not that serious and they don't make the playoffs, then he's got all offseason to rest and get healthy and get ready for next year. Yeah, Hayward almost got to him, and then Herbig got to him off the edge from behind, and then Hayward as well. And he walked off. All right, so they're checking him out in the tent. So this is concussion protocol for you. But remember, that was 3rd down, so this is 4th down, and here comes the field goal. Yeah, they're going to... As he's going to want to come back, but make sure he's okay to re-enter the game. First off, 35-yard field goal from the left hash. Clock's winding, but hopefully he misses this year. Keep it at 6 rather than go to 9. Kicks up, and kick is good. So it is now a 9.2 score game at 16-7. Bengals, they lead the Steelers. So Pittsburgh can get the ball back here. But yeah, Herbig and Hayward on the sack and just face first, and then like I said, face mask full of grass. And just, neck and head. He might have a concussion. Might be nothing, honestly. But then, I just hate to see that happen in the seasons he's had. If only they didn't start as slow as they did, they'd probably already be in the playoffs, not fight for their life. Because it's really Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, and then with Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, your MVP, finalists. So. Yeah. Ain't gonna fucking matter in the playoffs. Yeah. Yeah, like something just went wrong right before Thanksgiving. They lose that game in Cleveland in the snow as they're on a winning streak. Yeah, they beat the Bengals, they beat the Browns, but then they're on this 3-game losing streak, and offensively, just nothing. And the defense is making some plays, but not much. But it's really the reason they're 10-6 once again is because of turnovers. Handoff Warren up the middle, and he gets 9 yards, so 2nd and short coming up. But
First 4 seasons, he and the Steelers went 5-2. They got to 2 champ games. And they won a Super Bowl. Over the last 13, they've gone 3-8. They've got 5 straight losses. And they've gone since 2016.
2nd and a long one with Pruitt in motion. Handoff Harris up the middle, 1st down. So, run it. They need a spark though. They need to take a shot here. There's been nothing to Pickens all night. Fryer moved the tight ends a couple catches, but they need somebody else to step up at wide receiver. I mean, Williams has that big catch, which led to the touchdown drive then, but Burrow's on the sideline walking around. He seems to be okay. 1st and 10 from the 42. They'll toss Najee Harris. He cuts, and for 2 yards. So, just... Well, I would be too. I am frustrated. I mean, how couldn't you be frustrated right now? I haven't done much tonight. Yeah. Exactly. And then to fucking sit out in the freezing cold and watch this, it just makes it even worse. 2nd and 8. And Russ drops back, rolls out, and throws it out of bounds. Incomplete. Jesus fucking Christ. Come on, man. Like, what the fuck was that? Seriously. What in the hell? I get, you got to block, but you still got to make a better play than that. I get you throw it away to play another down. But, Jesus Christ. So an injury timeout here on defense. 3rd and 8. Got to obviously get a first down or you think it's hostile right now, it's going to get fucking worse.
One of the best in the game. They've been trying to make up for that ever since. And that's what happened to Jordan Battle as he got hit by Najee Harris.
And the safety position a year ago was a bit of a struggle.
And you're down 2 scores at 9.
And
You know, yeah, defense on giving up 1 touchdown, which you have to, you know, equal out with. But then you've given up 3 fucking field goals. And you don't have any field goals to show for yourself because you can't even get fucking field goal range other than your touchdown drive. You know, and they're lucky to probably even have that. Or else they'd be getting shut out right now. So, 3rd and 8 from the 44. Russ in the gun. Deep ball near side. Pickens inside the 30. Oh, he caught it and dropped it. Come on. Incomplete. 4th down, and they're going to have to punt. God.
George Pickens an opportunity. Cincinnati shows that they're going to play shell, and then at the snap they rotate to a single high look, and Pickens gets his one-on-one. And so many times we've seen Pickens.
They need a turnover on defense. What they need. They can't allow them to drive and score here. Field goal, touchdown. Especially a touchdown. You go a field goal, okay, it's 19-7. You still need 2 touchdowns to take a 21, to 19 lead then at that point if you can continue to hold and score yourself. Burrow trotting out, he's fine. Pittsburgh pins him deep on the punt. Back to the 5-yard line, it looks like. Be 1st and 10 Bengals from there. But you give up a touchdown, you're down 23, maybe 24-7 to go for 2. Pressure's on, especially when you haven't done shit hardly tonight. They're constipated as hell, and yeah, just time ain't gonna be on your side because with their lead, they've controlled the clock. And then even with them really not having a running game, they'll try to find one with a big lead then, and this second half, which I don't be surprised since first off, for starters, they need to get some breathing room here, so they're going to try to run the football. I get it's not early 4th quarter yet right now, but probably won't be a bad idea to, play renegade. This crowd's really not into it. They're getting restless. Yeah, offensively, they're not doing much. They need a fucking spark. They need a turnover, pressure on Burrow. I mean, they've had a couple strip sack fumbles, but, not able to recover. And then that sequence before halftime. Yeah, they turned it over on a punt return, got the interception, couldn't do anything off of it, turned it over on downs. They get a field goal. That field goal, they don't have that. They have the field goal they have here early 3rd quarter. It's 13-7. Still 1-score game. So it might be going back to that a little bit later on, depending on what happens here. But they need to stop. I mean, pressure, another strip sack fumble, pressure into pick 6. Obviously, Cincinnati had one of those against Pittsburgh a month ago. But then Pittsburgh just able to win in a shootout then. Won once since, but 3-game losing streak. Very hot. Stay back 4 feet. Yet they're right up fucking on the heater. Hopefully not going to catch on fire, but they need a spark to build a fire to get themselves back in this game. 1st and 10, Cincy at the 13-yard line. So they got a ways to go, but defense needs to stop. Defense needs to stop. 4:33 to play in this 3rd quarter. It's 16-7. And they'll run the ball, and as expected, rightfully so. Who can fucking blame them? They're going to try to work as much clock as they can and hold the lead. Make sure Pittsburgh doesn't, have time to do anything. So they cleared Burrow from concussion protocol, and he's fine. 2nd and 2 from the 20. Come on, defense. And a handoff on a draw on a 1st down run. Yeah, so if somehow, some way, Pittsburgh wins this game, they're the 5 seed. They'll go to Houston next week. But if they lose, yeah, they could still be the 5 seed. They'll need the Raiders to beat the Chargers tomorrow. But if the Chargers win, even though Pittsburgh beat LA earlier this year in the home opener back late September, Pittsburgh will then be the 6th seed because, lost 4 in a row, and they'll go to Baltimore again next week. So handoff there for a yard, maybe 2. Highsmith on the tackle. But second down. Yeah, which I said you can't blame him for running the ball and working the clock. That's exactly what I'd be trying to do with a lead. State that all the time on here that, if you have a lead in the second half, especially on the road, you want to run the football. You just want to get the hell out of, town to win. Which they have to win and get help to make the playoffs. So, from the 28, 2nd and 9. Burrow looking to throw. Dump off on the screen. They like that tight end screen. Wilson on the stop, be 3rd and a yard. Come on, defense. Because the offense ain't doing jack shit. And, defense just allowing them to drive and score. And, they're lucky to be down only the 9. They are at 16-7, still 2 scores. But just think, they have a touchdown and not 3 field goals and 3 more touchdowns. You're getting blown out right now, 28-7. Or anywhere in between for that matter. 3rd and a yard, they're running again, another good first down. Jesus Christ. Good God. At this rate, they're deserving to lose. Ain't gonna fucking stick up for them when they're playing like, shit. Root for them, support them, but, that's what they're just saying, and you can't disagree. They are in the playoffs, win or loss tonight already, but they keep playing like this, unless something really gets under them from now until the playoff game next week, regardless who the opponent is. They're going to lose. The season's going to be fucking over. Chase on the catch far side, and it's a first down for the Bengals. They're just... Pittsburgh's going through the fucking motions and letting Cincinnati do what the hell they want. Like, they should be ashamed of themselves. They should be. What they need to do is take a cold, hard look in the mirror and realize, hey, we got to wake the hell up and, play better. But you also have to give credit to Cincinnati. They haven't lost since they lost to the Steelers. They've been playing with their backs against the wall mainly all season long, especially this past month, because they needed to win out, which they have. Still need to win tonight, and they still got to get help tomorrow to make the playoffs. And if they are the 7 seed, or if it's Miami or Denver, one of those 3 is going to Buffalo. And Cincinnati would probably be, of the 3 teams, have the best chance to upset the Bills, you would have to think. The way just teams are playing right now. Denver, Bo Nix and the offense, and their defense ain't bad. We know how Miami plays in the cold. So, 2nd and 5, play clock winding down, timeout here. Or do they take a delay game, or is that the end of the 3rd quarter? It's all synced up. Yeah, end of the 3rd. Clock expires before the play clock expires. So they didn't have to call a timeout, let alone take a delay game. So end of the 3rd quarter, 16-7 Bengals. Bengal ball. And, oh mama. Steeler defense needs to stop, so we'll see if they can get it. But this rate, they've allowed them to, drive and, score. Early 10-0 lead. Pittsburgh, cuts it with a touchdown, but nothing offensively since. Had their chances before halftime, but let it slip. Still haven't done shit this 3rd quarter. Now into the 4th quarter we go. Like I said, Pittsburgh's probably lucky they only have given up 1 touchdown and the 3 field goals, because those 3 field goals are another touchdown, make it 2-3 more touchdowns. Like I said, you're getting blown out. Or, down more than the 9 you are, for God's sakes. But I think it's going to come back to that sequence before halftime at this rate. With you fumbled a punt return, you got an interception on defense, but then you went for it, turnover on downs, they get a field goal out of that. They don't have that 3, even the 3 they have in the third quarter on a field goal. They don't have that field goal before halftime. It's 13-7 right now. Still 6.1 score game, and you still have a chance. You still have a chance being down 9 at 2 scores, but it's still 2 scores. So they need to stop, need to score twice. Whether that's a field goal and a touchdown or 2 touchdowns or whatever. But as I said, you really can't give up a touchdown here. Because if you do, you're down 23-24-7. Give up a field goal. Okay, 19-7. You need 2 touchdowns then to get up top and get a lead. So we'll see what happens. We got 15 to play. Potential final home game of the season here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then next year in 2025, Happy New Year to everybody. But for the season of 2025-2026, come fall, Steelers have 9 home games and then 8 road games. And one of those home games reportedly is going to be overseas across the pond in Ireland. So we'll have to see if that does in fact become true over the next month or so potentially, let alone by May when the season schedule comes out. Jamar Chase on the reception far side, they say first down. So yeah, that's a catch. That's a first down. Like, with a loss tonight, there's going to be probably no belief in the Steelers come playoff time next week. And, I mean, you can't, really disagree, blame, whoever's, saying that. You can't. Just the way they played, it's frustrating, man. And then there's going to be a lot of talk about, well, yeah, they get to the playoffs, winning, season and so on and so forth, but then they can't win in the playoffs. And I get it, but at the other point, it could be a hell of a lot worse still. From the 20, 2nd and 8. Remember, they started this drive back inside their own 20. And now they'll let the play clock wind down and call a timeout. So, I mean, it's probably smart, good timeout there. You'll have 2 left, 2 time outs with 2-minute warning. 13 and change to play, but you have a 2-score 9-point lead. Make sure you're set. Make sure running smooth here. So. (16-7) after the timeout. Be 1st and 10 here for Cincinnati. Or make it 2nd down. Sorry, 2nd down from the 20. And screen and boom, big hit by Elliott. Be 3rd and 9. You got to force a kick. You can't give up a touchdown. But then you got to go score twice yourself. So you'd love to not give up anything right now. Get a turnover, miss kick, something, and go drive and score. Because then you'll have momentum and then get another defense stop and score off of that. Because then that gets you up top. 3rd and 9 from the 21. Come on, defense. Pressure, and they get to Burrow, but he gets rid of it at the last second, and they get a 1st down inside the 10, 1st and goal. I mean, that's just, yeah. Cold as ice. Joe Burr. cool, calm, collected. Yeah, they love the tight end screen tonight. And he's wide open and just a simple dump off. And 1st and goal now, Bengals at the 10. You got to give him credit. Hand off on a draw and to the 8-yard line. So, I mean, yeah, Pittsburgh's at 10-6. Remember, they're 10-3. With 4 games to go. Could have been at a max of 14-3, let alone minimum 10-7, let alone anywhere in between. But it looks like it's going to be that 10-7 they're going to lose 4 straight to end the regular season. And first time that's going to happen since 1998. But they got to get a stop. 2nd and goal. Run a screen on a wheel route out of the backfield. He stepped out at about the 3-4 yard line, maybe the 5. Be 3rd and goal, Bengals ball wherever they will spot this at. 3rd and goal. Come on, defense. Yeah, he stepped out of the 5. That's another good spot by the ref. And Burrow's saying, no, I don't like that play call. Play clock winding down. They're going to call another timeout. So they'll call their 2nd timeout. They'll have 1 left the rest of the way.
Well, it is a hot topic around the National Football League.
The MVP race. Yeah, who's it going to be? Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. So the 3rd and goal after the timeout from the 5 for the Bengals. Come on, defense. Burrow looking to throw over the middle. Caught or incomplete. Looked like Sutton. See a replay here, exactly what happened. Looked like Sutton might have been able to make the catch. Yeah, it was tipped. And Sutton, dove for it, almost caught it for a pick in the end zone. So it's incomplete. 4th down, they'll kick a 23-yard chip shot field goal from just inside the left hash. Kicks up and good. So, 19-7. 12-point, 2-score game. Giving up a touchdown. You have a touchdown yourself, but they have 4 field goals. Normally, Pittsburgh would have a field goal or 2, maybe 3 or 4 themselves, but not tonight they don't, because they can't even get in field goal range. It might be a different story if they, have a field goal or 2 right now. But they don't, so it is what it is. So that's why I said, okay, well, they at least force another kick rather than give up a touchdown there. Because they give up a touchdown there, the game's probably over. Be down 23, 24-7. The time that's left, but not much. Especially when you're not doing much yourself. So, down 12, need 2 touchdowns. Need to drive and score here, get the ball back, drive and score again, and hope they don't go kick a game-winning field goal. Maybe it would go for 2 if you'd score that 2nd time. Because say you score here, 19-14, you can't kick a field goal. Their field goals are gone for tonight, even though they don't have any. Because of, you make it 19-10, that's still 2 scores at 9, which they were just at 16-7. It goes back to that field goal before halftime. and then they give up the field goal there. Okay, a little bit. Doesn't matter now. But, yeah, it's all right. Say they would drive and score here 19-14. All hypothetical, obviously, because, they're the ones going out and hopefully doing it. But they might not. Probably won't. We'll see. Just don't turn the ball over, But, yeah, go drive and score here 19-14. And then got to get a stop. They would somehow go drive and score again. At that rate, I think you'd probably want to go for at least attempt a 2-point try if you would score, because then make it 22-19 rather than 21-19, because then they could win on a game-winning field goal. They kick a field goal where they can tie to force overtime, and then at 22, well, when they score a touchdown, they'd win it. But once again, Pittsburgh, they'd win tonight. They're the 5 seed. They lose. They still potentially might be the 5 seed, but probably the 6, depending on what happens with the Chargers and Raiders. And then if the Bengals win, they still need help tomorrow. They need the Dolphins to lose or tie, and the Broncos to lose for Cincinnati to make the playoffs with the 7th seed. So there's the playoff scenario. They show it. But, yeah, 11 to play. Pittsburgh down 12. They need 14 to win it. Kickoff return field at the 5-yard line. Jalen Warren, 20, 25, 30 to the 35-yard line. All right, some decent starting field position, but hey, they had that earlier and couldn't do anything with it either. So doesn't mean shit unless they actually execute. So yeah, 1st and 10, Pittsburgh down 12 here, 19-7. And the run game, yeah, you still want to run it here a little bit. Probably not as much as they would normally want to. But work the screen game. Get these tight ends involved. I'm telling you, Freiermuth, Washington, Pruitt, and Hayward. But with Pickens at wide receiver, 2 targets, no yards to show for here tonight. Van Jefferson on a deep ball. Freiermuth has a couple catches for a couple yards, but that pass complete for 5 yards to the 40. Who is that? Jefferson moving on up, but 2nd down. Still got to drive and score, okay? And you got to get a stop and score again. But somebody's got to step up at wide receiver. I don't care who it is. Pickens, Jefferson, Williams, Austin. 2nd and 5. Far side, it's caught. And 1st down, Pittsburgh. Yeah, Van Jefferson on back-to-back receptions. So another 1st down. Another 5-yard pickup. But they got to go. Wilson, far side, incomplete, and 10 for Freiermuth.
This is an offense that is in a bad way. And when you get to this point, boy, if you're Arthur Smith, you don't know what to call on that call sheet, and everything becomes a challenge. Every yard is a struggle. And that, this is the NFL. You got to catch those balls. You got to complete them. Those are too easy.
From the 45, 2nd and 10. Russ, far side, caught. Jefferson for 8. All right, 3rd and 2. Got to get 1st down. Got to get 1st down.
Short throws, but effective to start moving the ball down the field as they're on Cincinnati's side of the 50 with a 3rd down and 2.
Jefferson, he's not going to get called himself. He motioned to the sidelines. He took himself out. And then Mike Williams, he looks like he's fine. I think he just needed to catch his breath. Mike Williams has replaced him.
And Russ dump off. Najee Harris, 1st down, Pittsburgh. 43-yard line, 1st and 10. So, yeah, they might got something going now. We'll see. Maybe take a shot. Russ in the gun. Dump off on the screen. Najee Harris going to break a tackle inside the 40. 1st down, 35 to 31. All right. Keep it going. 9:03 and counting to play. Down 12. They need 14 to win it. And now Najee's hurt. So hopefully he's okay. But Jalen Warren, where's Cordell Patterson at tonight at running back, let alone wide receiver? You know? Najee Harris, he's got sandwiched pretty hard and drove into the ground, so they're staying alive. Down 12, but they got to do something here, man. So, see what happens. We'll see what happens, man. I mean, either way, they're playing next week. All right. But you just would like some momentum going in the playoffs. But then, you know, maybe them losing 4 in a row lights a fire to their ass, and they come out next week fucking swinging and just find a way to win that game. You know, because then once again, it's a 1-game season. Survive in advance, win, and go home. So, would doubt it, just with the way they played. But playoffs are different than the regular season. But once again, the way they're playing, they, you know.
For example, you've got car insurance here and home insurance here. Why not?
Yeah.
All together. Save even more. Something better.
Probably going to lose in the playoffs at some point in time. I mean, there's only going to be one champion. We know that at the start of the season to begin with. But it's like, well, should they even be in the fucking playoffs? You know. I mean, once again, they're 10-6. Probably could have and should have a couple more wins. Probably could have and probably should have a couple more losses, though. You know, it's a lot of, you know, turnover mistakes on why they're in the situation they're in. Oh, he took a big shot right there. That's a helmet to helmet. Yeah, where's the fucking 15 yards on a targeting? On 57. But obviously you can't call penalty on a replay. But Naj is going to get checked out probably for a concussion. But 1st and 10, Steelers from 31 with Freiermuth in motion. And Russ in the gun looking to throw over the middle, caught Pickens, and then he fucking fumbles it. Unless they say incomplete. So it's incomplete. Yeah, that's his second drop. Yeah, that's incomplete, not a catch and a fumble. We never had control of possession of it. So 2nd and 10, Pittsburgh from the 31. And trouble with the snap. Russ going to step up, tuck it, and run. Slides and gets a first down inside the 20. So, hey, making a play out of nothing. Because that should have been dead in the water and 3rd and long. But they get a new set of downs, 1st and 10 here, knocking on the door. But you got to score a touchdown here. You can't kick a fucking field goal. You got to score touchdowns. From the 19, 1st and 10 with 8:14 and counting to play. Russ, far side. Freiermuth caught at the 5. Touchdown Steelers. And now it's time to crank Renegade. Going into break. With this extra point, hopefully up and good. Make it 19-14 on a 19-yard passing touchdown. Let's go. So no Pickens at all tonight, but Freiermuth now having himself a decent game with that touchdown reception. Boswell extra point up and good. Right down 5th Ave. So 19-14, 8:07 to play. Time to wave those towels. So defense, they need to stop. They need a turnover. Just need to get the fucking ball back. Once again, give themselves a chance to go drive and score again. And that's why I said if they can hold, You're looking at potentially going for 2 to make it a 22-19 game. So then a game-winning field goal doesn't win it for them at 22-21. I mean, if obviously you go for 2, don't get it, you're stuck with the 20-19 then. But if you make it, you're up 3, field goal for them ties. They need a touchdown to win it. They kick it, you're tied at 22, you're going to overtime. So defense needs to stop. So, yeah, Renegade should be right about now. As they have the 2 touchdowns. Harris with a 1-yard rushing touchdown. Russ there with the passing touchdown. Probably just went over 100 yards passing. We'll update some stats here in a minute. But if only they had a field goal or 2, on a drive earlier that, they were in a situation of, drive doesn't stall out, let alone it's back to that field goal really before halftime that they, on the sequence of the fumble, the punt, the interception, they got the ball back with the turnover on downs. The Bengals have 3 points out of that. They don't have 3 points out of that. It's 16-14 right now. That's a 2-point score game. And if you can kick a field goal, you win it. Score a touchdown, you're up 5, still 1 score. They'd still be able to win it with a touchdown. But they need a touchdown, not a field goal then at that point. So it's circling back around to that field goal before halftime while they're down to 5 and not 2. But yeah, so wave those towels. Potentially for the final time at Heinz Field Acrisure Stadium this season. So, oh mama, long arm of the law, hopefully out to get Joe Burrow and this Bengal offense. Come on, defense. We'll see if Renegade strikes again. Don't want to lose 4 in a row down the regular season, going into the playoffs. You want to win, be the 5 seed and go to Houston. You want to take care of business. Because you don't win tonight, you lose. Obviously, you finish 10-7. You can still be the 5, but you're probably going to be the 6, and then you got to go to fucking Baltimore. Then you still got to take care of business next week, regardless of who you're playing. But Boswell on the kickoff, and defense needs to stop. Return on the kick from the 2. Out past the 20, 25, and a big hit. So, Renegade, hopefully, with that touchdown. But Renegade to be the spark, this defense to get a stop and a turnover and get the ball back. Come on, defense, let's go. From the 27, 1st and 10, 19-14 with 8:01 to play. Burrow in the gun, and pump fake, it's batted down, incomplete. Cam Hayward on the pressure, 2nd and 10. Come on, defense. And once again, the Bengals have to win tonight and get help tomorrow to make the playoffs. So they're still going to want to try to drive and score a touchdown, because if they do, the game's probably over. Pittsburgh's down 2 scores in. Pittsburgh can force a kick. They still got some life, being down 8. Highsmith off the edge. Can't get the Burrow over the middle. It's caught, 1st down. Wilson on the tackle at the 41. They say catch and a 1st down. Jasecki, 1st and 10 Bengals. Come on, defense. Burrow dumps it off on a screen, but Wilson tackle for loss. And they're going to say he's down before the ball came out on a fumble, but they recovered it anyway, it looked like. So 2nd and long, though, for the Bengals. 7-1-7 and counting the play. Bengals only have 1 timeout left, I might add, too. So remember on that one drive, the last drive to kick that field goal before the Pittsburgh Steelers went and drove and scored, they called those 2 timeouts. Yeah, that was a fumble, but they were able to recover it. So 2nd and 14. Come on, defense. Play clock winding down. 3, 2, they get it off. Burrow over the far side, incomplete. 10 for Jamar Chase with Joey Porter on the coverage. 3rd and 14. Come on, D. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be for the Steeler defense making a play? Empty set, 5 wide on 3rd and 14 from their own 37. And Burrow over the middle, caught Gesicki, but Minka on the tackle. 4th down, and they'll punt. Pittsburgh going to get the ball back with time and timeouts to go score a touchdown and win this thing. But Cincy still could get the ball back. But you're going to get the ball back with about under 6 to play, 3 timeouts, 2-minute warning, and you need a touchdown to win it. I mean, come on. Just don't turn the ball over. Defense did their fucking job. Now it's time for the offense to go do something. Yes. And they almost blocked the punt. And Austin fields it at the 8, gets to the 10. Remember, he fumbled a punt return earlier. And then the Steelers got interception, Beanie Bishop, but then the Steelers turned to run downs. Bengals got 3 points out of that before halftime. Unless it'd be 16-14. Like the Bengals, as Pittsburgh hasn't done much tonight. Cincy really hasn't done much since being up 10-0. They've only scored 9 points. You know, they have a touchdown in the couple field goals they have. And Pittsburgh with the 2 touchdowns and down 5, getting the ball back with 5:54 to play and 3 timeouts and 2-minute warning. They need a touchdown to take a lead and maybe win this game. So from the 11, 1st and 10, just don't turn the ball over. Whatever you do, do not turn the ball over. Empty set, Russ dumps it off, and it's incomplete in time for Jalen Warren. Jesus Christ. Probably concussion. He's in the locker room, so he's not coming back. So Russ complete Freiermuth, and from 188, former Penn State tight end, and Mike Gesicki to another, and Pat Freiermuth for the Pittsburgh Steelers here. It'll be 3rd and a long one for Pittsburgh at the 20-yard line. Let's get first down. Russ going to avoid a sack, roll out, go deep, intended for Pickens, incomplete. Jesus fucking Christ. So now they got a punt, and the defense needs to get another fucking stop for him. Because you sure as hell ain't going for it from your own 20-yard line down 5, you know, with that many minutes to play as well. Because if they score a touchdown, game's over. Force a kick, you're down 8, you'd still need a touchdown and a 2-point just to tie. But, good God, man. This fucking offense. Rely on this defense way too damn much. And Waitman's punt might have touched a Bengal on the return, and Pittsburgh recovers it as they go out of bounds. Are they going to say Steeler ball? Refs are getting together. First down, Steelers. There you go. There's a turnover. And they're getting the ball right back. Punt was, I don't know. Ball was touched by the receiving team. Yeah, you can tell the ball moved a little bit. And Pittsburgh recovered it. It's not Cam Hayward, but it's Connor Hayward, his younger brother. As he recovers it inbounds before going out of bounds. That's a clear recovery by Pittsburgh. Once again, the rolling on the field is a fumble recovered by Steelers. So they have to find a bit of evidence to overturn it. But let alone, since he has to challenge, and with 5:14 to play, only 1 timeout, they lose the challenger out of timeouts for the rest of the game. So it's going to be Steeler ball, 1st and 10. And they still need a touchdown to take the lead. And it's not the offense doing anything right now, even though they scored 2 touchdowns. Just cut it to 5. Defense got them the ball back. Offense goes 3 and out. Gonna have to rely on the defense again. No, it's special teams. They get a turnover on special teams. And 1st and 10 at the 38. And Russ, quick pass, incomplete, intended for Pickens. Right through his fucking hands. He's been targeted like 5 times, has no catches tonight. And his 3rd drop. Yeah, it's like, you bitch, you're not getting the ball. You bitch about this, you bitch about that, and then situations like this, and you're not making plays. It's like, you can't be bitching anymore, buddy. From the 38, 2nd and 10. Russ, quick pass, far side, Freiermuth. He's reliable. Get him the fucking ball. 9 yards and 3rd and a yard. Just get a first down, okay? Like, don't be surprised when Pickens, contracts up. They don't fucking extend them. Because we know the Steelers with wide receivers. They get them for 3, 4, 5 years on a rookie deal, and they let them fucking walk. Or they trade them. And then do it all over again. Because I believe the last receiver they had for more than a rookie deal was Hines Ward. And he played his whole career with the Steelers. So if that ain't saying and proving my point, then I don't know what to tell you. But 2nd down here for the Steelers. 2nd and 9 with 4:09 and counting to play. Ball to 27. Russ going to get sacked. Well, that's just good coverage. Russ can't do anything. Nobody's open. He's still got to, do something rather than take a sack. You don't want to throw a pick, obviously, but try to make a play. But 3rd and 15 at the 33. I mean, you definitely kick a field goal if you don't get it. You cut the lead again. But then you might not get the ball back, even with your 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning. Russ going to go deep in the end zone. And incomplete, intended for Mike Williams. You definitely got to kick it on 4th and 15. There's a flag on the play, though. Maybe a roughing the passer. It's going to be a hold.
It's against Pittsburgh. I think it's against Cordero Patterson. And,
Holding. It's going to be declined by the Bengals. Or 10 yards, replay 3rd down. Why don't they decline that? It's incomplete 4th down. Because Pittsburgh now has another chance to get a first down. I mean, yeah, that's a holding. All right. Yeah, kick it. You take the points, and then it goes back to the field goal before halftime. So 3rd and 25. I mean, can you get 25, 26 yards on first down? I don't know. Maybe. But you still end up kicking this here if you don't get a first down. You take your points so I can get them. That's what I said. I don't know why the fuck they took that penalty. The Bengals should have declined that. Pittsburgh's kicking a field goal right now. But 3rd and 25, quick pass, Freiermuth, it's caught. Well, it's going to be a difference about 3 yards on that penalty, whether they took it or they didn't, because now it's Pittsburgh 4th down from the 36, 46, into the hills, 53, 54-yard field goal here for Boswell to cut it from 5 to 2, and then it goes back to the field goal once again before half. Or else this would be for the lead. And then they still have 3 timeouts, and they're kicking on the right side of the 2-minute warning with a make. But Boswell, 54-yarder, kicks up, and kick is good. All right, 19-17, 2:39 to play, but they got to get a stop. defensively. 3 timeouts, 2-minute warning. If only they had a field goal drive earlier, you know, let alone they don't give up 3 before half. They have the lead right now.
Since the merger in field goal tries at 50 plus,
But
he was named to his second Pro Bowl this week. That's big time.
they got to get a stop on defense. They got to get the ball back quick. You know, with 3 timeouts, 2-minute warning, you're going to want to try to get the ball back still before the 2-minute warning if you can. If not, all right, you got 4 timeouts. They, you know, get a stop. Make sure they don't get a first down. Because if they can get under 2 minutes and you're out of timeouts and they get a first down, they can knee it out, they win. And there's the playoff scenario once again. The Steelers, you know, they're in anyway, but with a win, they're the 5 seed. They lose, they still might be the 5 seed. Going to have the Raiders beat the Chargers tomorrow. But if, you know, they lose tonight, Chargers win, LA's the 5, and then, you know, Pittsburgh's the 6 and goes to Baltimore. Bengals have to win tonight, plus get help tomorrow with the Dolphins and Broncos both losing to make the playoffs. So, kickoff return and a good return to the 44-yard line. So they're only able to get 3 points off the turnover. Touchdown would have given them the lead. But defense needs to step up and get another stop. Because if not, yeah, game's going to be over. They're going to lose. They're still going to play next week. Bengals might not, depending on what happens tomorrow. But they still got to win tonight. 1st and 10, Cincy from the 44. Come on, Pittsburgh. Come on, defense. They'll run the ball. And for 2 yards, timeout. So 2nd and 8 with 2:25 to play. 19-17, Steelers up 2 timeouts. Yeah. That's what you want to try to get the ball back before 2 minutes if you can. Not, but watch a play action, you know. Watch that tight end screen. They've ran that a lot tonight and been able to execute on it. But that's what I said. If Cincy can get this under 2 minutes, Pittsburgh's having timeouts. They have a first down, they can knee it out. So, come on, defense. 2nd and 8 from the 46. As they'll break the huddle. Chase in motion. And a quick bubble screen caught by Chase. And they got a 3rd and 3. Timeout. With 2:19. So they got 1 timeout left here, down 2. 19-17.
Last time Cincinnati had it. And it's 3rd down and 3 with 2:19 to go as the Steelers use their 2nd timeout of the half. Stars tonight.
So you get a stop. You might call your 3rd and final timeout. You might just let it run to 2 minutes. But then they get a first down. Even with that timeout you have, you know, game's over. But you get a stop, force a punt, get the ball back. You're going to have to drive, and you might be kicking a game-winning field goal here. But we won't score a game-winning touchdown. But got to get a stop here defensively first. Chase in motion once again far side. From the Steeler 49-yard line, 3rd and 3 for the Bengals. And Burrow looking to throw, running around, and down he goes on the sack back at the 40-yard line. And do they call their 3rd and final timeout with 2:10 to play, or are they going to let this go to 2 minutes? It looks like they're going to take this to 2-minute warning, force a punt, get the ball back with, after the punt, minute 50 to play or so, and a timeout, needing a field goal to win. If the Steelers win, they're the 5 seed in the AFC playoffs. They'll go to Houston. But if they lose, Bengals still alive. They need help tomorrow by both the Dolphins and Broncos losing. If that happens, they're the 7 seed. They'll go to Buffalo. If they're not the 7 seed, and then Miami or Denver is the 7 seed, they'll go to Buffalo. Kansas City, obviously, the 1. Baltimore, the 3, as the AFC North champs. And then you have Houston at 4 as the AFC South representative. And then the Chargers are in the wild card position as well, either at the 5 or 6 spot, depending on what happens with Pittsburgh here. But obviously, you have NFL Week 18 tomorrow. See what happens. We'll see who's in the playoffs, who's not. But big sack there by Keanu Benton. First time I've said his name tonight, out of Wisconsin. But defense has done their job for the most part. You know, it was feeling like it was going to come back, circle back around to the field goal before halftime. You know, why they're probably going to lose this game. You know, from that sequence of the fumble punt return to the interception to the turnover on downs and then the field goal. Or else they'd be up 1 right now if they don't have that 3 points. And then the Bengals, you know, only have a couple, really only 1 field goal, 3 points in this whole entire second half, for that matter. Because they had, you know, had the 10, had the 13, and then, yeah, just, all right, but offense, now's your time to shine, man. And Pickens, with as many drops as he has tonight, we'll see if they go to him at all. But no, they're going to get the ball back here. 2-minute warning. You know, obviously forcing a punt here. Just nothing stupid. Don't run, rough the punter. Don't jump off sides. You know, don't fumble. Don't turn the ball over offensively, but don't fumble another punt return. So 19-17, yeah, 2 minutes to play. And the Steelers have a timeout. So, Monday Night Football, ESPN, ABC was in Pittsburgh late October, right before Halloween, or for the Giant game. Austin had a punt return. Another one of those would be nice right about now. But Bengals on the punt here. And then the Steelers just need a field goal to win it, let alone a touchdown. But punt will bounce and field at the 18. Slips and gets to the 25. All right, 1st and 10 Pittsburgh. From there, with a minute 51 to play. And a timeout. Need a field goal to win it. Touchdown for sure probably does it, but yeah, they're just showing off all the Bengals' losses on why they're in the position they're in right now. Or else, once again, they'd probably already be in the playoffs. You know, but 1st and 10 here for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's on the 24-yard line. Just don't turn the ball over, because if you get, you know, stuffed on 4th down, game's over. Russ out of the gun, looking to throw. Dump off on the screen, Najee Harris, but he's going to lose 2 yards. But good thing he's back in. He's, you know, obviously not seriously injured. There's no topic of discussion for that entering next week. 2nd and 22. Or 2nd and 12, excuse me, from the 22. Down 2. Russ, complete Freiermuth near side, but they got a 3rd and 10. Back to the original line of scrimmage, and they'll wind the clock because he couldn't get out of bounds. And they still got a timeout, but clock's ticking. Minute 15 and counting to play. Jesus Christ. Russ over the middle, caught. Freiermuth again, out past the 40 to 43. 1st down, but under a minute to play. They'll spot it. They're going to clock it, or they're going to run a play. Once again, they just need to get in field goal range to kick it. But then if they miss, game's over, they still lose. Make it, you know, obviously they win. But from the 42, 1st and 10. Might have gotten away with a false start. Russ going to roll out far side. Tuck it and run. Stays in bounds. They'll wind the clock at the 46. 38 seconds and counting. Got to go. Still don't have a timeout. We'd like to save that for Boswell if you can get in field goal range here. 30 seconds. Go. Come on. Fucking 45-yard line. You're wasting too much goddamn time. 25 seconds. They snap the goddamn ball. Russ going to get sacked, of course. Now you got to call your timeout. With 20 seconds. You got to call your timeout. Because you're not going to rush everybody back and still have time to Come on.
But 2 plays ago when he did not. Instead, he tucked it, took the hit,
Yeah.
stayed in bounds, and this
So what is it now? 3rd down?
This is the job by Hendrickson, and big players make big plays when the games are on the line. He goes past Dan Moore once again and collapses the pocket. So they have to burn their last time.
Yeah, 3rd down and 12 with 20 seconds. Now they don't have any timeouts. And they're not on the right side of the 50, I might add, either. Talk about the Steeler defense getting stops. So here's the Bengals defense getting stops. And Boswell might not even attempt a field goal here from the 40-yard line. 3rd and 12. Russ. Gonna go deep with it. Far side. Has a man. Oh! And it's incomplete, intended for Pickens. With 14 seconds to play, it's incomplete. So they got to get a first down to keep this drive going for one. He had him too. And then it was just a little too much on the pass. But then he's probably down right there anyway. He probably doesn't get out of bounds. Clock winds. They don't have any timeouts. And then you got to get up there and clock it. And is there any time? You know, they do reset the clock here after the incompletion, 15 seconds to play. But 4th and 12, and here's your ball game. They got to get a first down and get the hell out of bounds to stop the clock. Jesus Christ. And Cincinnati calls their 3rd and final timeout, even though the play clock was winding down. And then it would have been a delay of game. But
frustration in the stands.
yeah.
Frustration with Tomlin, Wilson, and Pickens. And again, for Mike Tomlin's team, they're trying to avoid a 4-game losing streak to end the year. And potentially a slide to the number 6 seed, which would be followed by a trip to Baltimore next week.
Yep.
That would happen with a loss and a Chargers win over the Rams.
So 4th and 12 here from the 40 after the timeout. Got to get a first down and get the hell out of bounds. But then you still probably got to get another play off, you know, even get in field goal range. Russ down the middle, incomplete, 10 for Freiermuth, and that'll do it. Bengals are going to stay alive. They'll beat the Steelers 19-17 in the fucking sequence of the fumbled punt with an interception and then a turnover on downs with a Bengal field goal before halftime is going to come back to bite the Steelers in the ass with a, you know, not great performance on offense, even though with, you know, 2 touchdowns, kick a 54-yard fucking field goal. But then, yeah. Bengals didn't do a lot. Did enough, though, because the Steelers, you know, still did far less. And Pittsburgh's going to lose 4 in a row to end the regular season for the first time since 1998. Bengals have won 5 in a row. They still haven't lost since they lost to the Steelers on December the 1st. They're 9-8. It's going to be a winning season for them. Pittsburgh's going to fall to 10-7. Pittsburgh's in the playoffs still already. Okay, they've locked that up. Cincinnati, with a win, though, tonight, they still need the Dolphins and Broncos to lose tomorrow to make the playoffs as a 7 seed. So 19-17 is your final score. And the Steelers, with the loss now, losing 4 in a row. Defense did their job for the most part, obviously, yeah. Only gave up 1 touchdown, forced 4 field goals. Offensively, 2 touchdowns and a field goal. If only, you know, they didn't give up that field goal before halftime off that sequence with the fumbled punt, interception, turnover on downs, and the field goal, let alone got in field goal range a couple more times tonight, you know, you might win it. But now at 10-7, you're not division champs. That went to Baltimore earlier today. They're the 3 seed. Pittsburgh, yeah, probably just played their final home game of the season. So, see you in August for the fucking preseason, let alone, you know, the regular season next year. Like I said, they'll have 9 home games. one of those potentially to be in Ireland with the Steelers connection with the Rooney family. But obviously the NFL wanting to expand overseas, international games and such. But the Steelers now, as they're already in the playoffs, they've lost 4 in a row. First time since 1998 they've done that to end the regular season. They have, no belief really, well, other than themselves, I would hope, but no momentum going into the playoffs. And with the loss now, yes, they can still, as if they would have won tonight, they'd be for sure the 5 seed going to Houston now next week. But with the loss, they can still be the 5 seed in the AFC playoffs. But they need the Raiders to beat the Chargers tomorrow. If that happens, Pittsburgh's the 5 seed and they're still going to Houston. But with the loss now tonight, and you have the Chargers probably going to beat the Raiders, I'd have to guess. With the loss, Pittsburgh's probably going to Baltimore next weekend in the wildcard round of the AFC playoffs for the NFL here 2024-2025 as a 6 seed. So, yeah, you're looking at, winning season, but then you're looking at losing 4 in a row to end the regular season. You're looking at probably a exit in the playoffs with another loss in the playoffs without still haven't won a playoff game since 2016. But like I was saying earlier, maybe this does with a 4-game losing streak. Regardless of the opponent next week, whether it's the Texans or the Ravens, it's going to be one of the two of them. They're the 5 seed. If the Chargers lose the Raiders tomorrow, if the Raiders beat the Chargers, Pittsburgh's the 5 seed and they'll go to Houston. With the loss tonight and the Chargers beat the Raiders tomorrow, Pittsburgh's 6 seed going to Baltimore. Regardless of who the opponent is next week, they still got to take care of business, okay? Because it's win or go home, survive and advance. It's a 1-game season. But maybe this 4-game losing streak, just maybe, highly fucking doubt it, but just maybe, it lights a fire under their ass and they can just find a way. But, I wouldn't bet money on it. I can guarantee you that. I don't even know if I'd fucking put a penny on it. Okay? Like, that's just how pitiful they've played the past, 4 games. They haven't won since December the 8th. Haven't played on a Sunday since December the 15th. So we'll see when the game is next week, because it might be next Saturday. Might be next Sunday. Fuck, it might be next Monday night. If it's Steelers, Texans, it sure as hell ain't going to be next Monday night. Steelers, Ravens, it could be next Monday night. But then you have other games in the playoffs as well on both sides of the fence with the AFC and the NFC. So who knows what the schedule's going to look like. But they've played on a Sunday, Saturday, and a Wednesday in the span of a week and a half, and then had a week and a half off and played Saturday today. So they'll obviously be off tomorrow. They'll wait till tomorrow night this time, after Sunday Night Football game 272 to end the regular season, week 18 in the NFL, to see where they're going, who they're playing, and when the game is. So I'll have live play watch along reactions live here on YouTube, whenever the hell that might be. Okay, so be sure to subscribe and be sure to tune back in. But just frustrating, They do it to themselves. They're 10-7 because of turnovers. But this game, well, the turnover on downs is really what was the difference. Still technically a turnover. And that was just prior to halftime. So, I don't know what else you want me to fucking say other than what we don't already know or what I already haven't said for that matter. Just frustrating. It's like, they love fucking playing like this. And then it's, alright, if they end up winning, they end up winning. If they end up fucking losing, they end up fucking losing. And yeah, 4th and 12 over the middle down the seam, intended for Freiermuth, and it's incomplete. And the Bengals beat the Steelers 19-17. They needed to win to stay alive. They would have lost, their season's over. And then it's either, once again, Denver and Miami then in the 7th seed. But I mean, you got to give it up to the Bengals, you know. I mean, this was still a winnable game for the Steelers, though, even as bad as they fucking played. But the way they've played as of late, yeah, they've deserved to fucking lose the 4-0 they have. Even though we knew the tough 3-game stretch they were going to have, you know, going into Christmas with the Eagles, Ravens, and the Chiefs at home on Christmas Day on Netflix. They lose all 3. You know, it'd been nice to win one of those 2, if not 2 of the 3. Let alone a couple of the other losses they had earlier this year, for that fucking matter, from the Colts to the Cowboys to the Browns. Does anybody remember the winning streak they had? You know, from mid to late October into, you know, mid to late November, for God's sakes, at this point? Probably not. You know, because, I mean, your record shows and tells you exactly who you are. And they've lost 4 in a row. They're 10-7. Had a chance to win the division. That's out the window. That's come and gone. And they're going to either be the 5 or the 6 seed and just play their final home game of the season, more than likely. Like I was saying earlier, the only way they get another home playoff game is if somehow they would get the AFC Championship game and everybody seated, you know, in front of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, let alone 5 if they're the 6. But they all fucking lose, you know. But, yeah, that ain't going to happen. So they're going to have to go on the road, which they've done that before in the playoffs and found ways to win, but they also have fucking urges, you know, and, you know, momentum and the will to fucking win. Right now, this team, they still have that stench. They're still playing JV ball for sure. Use my words wisely, but just... it's pitiful. It's piss poor. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, this needs to change or that needs to change, but something needs to change. And it's really, you think about it, it's not Mike Tomlin. Even though people will go directly to him, and I get it starts at the top. I get the argument of winning season and winning the playoffs and so on and so forth. It's going to get loud, no doubt about it. It normally does this time of year in the Steel City and, you know, these type of situations. Because you go from football season getting over and then fucking Pirates suck all year long, and then, you know, you have, you know, the Pens, you know, playing okay. But it's, hey, at least they haven't lost the Steelers that is 5 in a row like Pitt did. Because remember, Pitt lost 6 in a row to end the season with the bowl loss. So the Steelers, they can only lose 5 in a row if they lose in the playoffs next week. So there's that for you. For what it's for, it's not much, but just frustrating. It's really, you know, still on the offensive side of the ball. Because there will be talk of, and it goes back to what, remember, they're 3-0, 3-2, Justin Fields, you know, why fix what ain't broken, but then they go on the winning streak. And then they've lost 4 in a row, and let's see if I can do my math. They lost at the Browns. Okay, that's 1 game. Then they beat the Bengals and beat the Browns. And then lost 4 in a row. So that's what? They've lost 5 of 7, if I'm not mistaken. Including 4 in a row. Something along those lines. Yeah, that makes sense. I think so. So that's pathetic. As I said, if it ain't a first round exit, like they probably shouldn't even be in the fucking playoffs. But they're going to be in the playoffs, so it's probably going to be a first round exit next week. But like I said, maybe this lights a fire into their ass, you know, losing 4 in a row. Hopefully it does, and they find a way to win next week, regardless of who they're playing. and then survive and advance the next week, survive and advance the following week. You know, maybe they get the Super Bowl. Doubtful, though. Very doubtful. That'd be something to bet. The Steelers don't make the fucking Super Bowl. Which people probably already did anyway. No, but once again, they're 3-2 after 3-0 start. They go to Russ, and then they go on the winning streak. Lost 4 right here, like I said. I believe it's 5-7 down the stretch now that they've lost. The only 2 wins being right after Thanksgiving, at the Bengals and at home against the Browns on December the 8th. They haven't won since. So come playoff time next week in the wild card round, it'll be over a month from the last time they won a football game. Okay? It'll be January, 11th, 12th, 13th for the wild card round. So we'll see what happens, but the thing is with Russ, they go back to Fields, there's no turning back. You know, because supposedly they want to re-sign both of them and then still have that, vet, get him on a, couple-year deal down the stretch here, and then have Fields learn. But they have a running game. Whether Naj is back next year, who knows, even though he's had over 1,000 yards rushing each of his 4 seasons. You have Warren behind him, who they believe in. Got him as an undrafted rookie free agent out of Oklahoma State a couple years ago. Beanie Bishop had an interception tonight. He's an undrafted rookie out of West Virginia this year. But, you got to feel bad for the defense, even though, they still gave up more points than they ended up scoring. They end up losing. It's not golf. It's, football, baseball, basketball, hockey. Mainly every sport other than golf, highest score wins. And still didn't get the job done, but defense did their part. It's the offense. You got to score fucking points. I mean, they scored 17 tonight. Scored 10 last week. 17 at the Ravens. Less than 20 at Philly. It's just, oh, God. You put them up against some of the worst teams in the league right now, it's still going to be a 1-score game. It's still going to come down to the fucking wire. Bet on that. I mean, they just love shooting themselves in the foot. They just love playing like this. It's just who they are. And then it's, when they win, it's like, all right, found a way to win. Win's a win. And when they lose, it's like, well, this, that, the other. Still root for them, still support them, but it's just at times, man, it's frustrating like this. It's like, what in the hell? What the fuck? So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Once again, with a win tonight, they would have already automatically been the 5 seed. But they lost. So now they need the Raiders to beat the Chargers tomorrow to still be the 5 seed. The Chargers win, even with Pittsburgh's win over LA earlier this year. Chargers the 5 seed, and then Pittsburgh is 6 seed. So Steelers lose 19-17 home against the Bengals. But if the Raiders beat the Chargers, Pittsburgh is the 5 seed. If the Chargers win, Pittsburgh is 6 seed. And if Pittsburgh is 5 seed, they go to Houston and take on the Texans. But if they're the 6 seed, it's back to Baltimore and playing the Ravens in the AFC North as a 6 seed, taking on the 3rd seed Ravens, who won the AFC North. Who, you beat at home in a close game because of all their mistakes. But then, you lose, and you lost to them right before Christmas. And the second consecutive game, you're driving potentially to score, tie the game up, but turn the ball over, and then all hell broke loose. You end up losing. And then you lost last Wednesday, and then you lose again tonight. So it's either going to be Steelers-Texans or Steelers-Ravens next weekend in the wild card round of the NFL playoffs. So we'll see what happens. But I'll have live play-by-play watch-along reactions over on YouTube whenever that game might be next weekend. So be sure to tune back in. But in the meantime tonight, 19-17 your final score. Steelers finished the regular season on a 4-game losing streak, now at 10-7. Final stats and scores. Joe Burrow was 37 of 46 for 277 yards passing. They sacked him 4 times. Had a couple strip sack fumbles, but they were able to recover. Had an interception, couldn't score off of it though, because remember, the turnover on downs was right after that. But remember, it all started with a fumbled punt, then the interception, and then the turnover on downs, and they got 3 points out of that, and then they lose by 2. So, yeah. But Burrow had a passing touchdown. It was on the opening drive as Jamar Chase, as Khalil Herbert had 20 carries, 69 yards rushing. Also 7 catches, 14 yards receiving, as they are without Chase Brown tonight. But Burrow's passing touchdown, was Jamar Chase on the opening drive of the game. Go up 7-0, went up 10-0. Steelers cut it 10-7, and it was 13-7, 16-7, 19-7, and then 19-14. Got a field goal off of a fumble, and just imagine they score a touchdown there. They're up 2. Let alone 3, they go for 2. And then it's a whole different story, but only able to get a field goal, and then still got the ball back off of a sack. They're late in the game. They called their timeouts 2 minutes ago, got the ball back, but then not able to get out past midfield on 4th down, and the game was over. Bengals need it out. So, 19-17 your final score. But, Jamar Chase with that touchdown early in the game. Finished with 10 catches, 96 yards receiving. Mike Gesicki, 8 of 68. T. Higgins, 453. Drew Sample, 414. Khalil Herbert, 7 of 14. Yoshivage, 2 catches, 12 yards. Tanner Hudson had a catch for 11 yards. Grandy, 1 of 9. York with 13 total points. 1 of 1 on his extra point. And then he had 4 field goals. So he was in all of 19 points on all scoring drives in the 2-point win. Russell Wilson, 17 of 31, $148. He was also sacked 4 times. Threw the passing touchdown to Pat Freiermuth, who led the Steelers in receiving with 8 catches, 85 yards, and a touchdown, as both former Penn State Lion tight ends who wear 88 in the NFL had big games tonight. And hopefully we are Penn State come Thursday against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in the Orange Bowl. I'll have live play-by-play watch-along reactions over on YouTube then as well, so be sure to tune back in. Najee Harris, 12 carries, 36 yards rushing, and the touchdown. Had 4 catches, 20 yards receiving as well. Jalen Warren, 6 of 21 rushing. Russ, 4 of 16. But other than Freiermuth at wideout, at tight end, 8 catches, 85 yards, and touchdown as mentioned, and a 19-yard touchdown. Mike Williams had a catch for 25 yards on the far sideline that ended in the Najee touchdown. Harris, 420 receiving, go with his 12 of 36 rushing on the touchdown. Van Jefferson, 3 of 18, but, Austin, nothing. Pickens was targeted officially 6 times, no catches for no yards tonight. And then just defensively, obviously, I got to feel bad for him, but Corey Trice had 11 total tackles, Peyton Wilson with 10, Sean Elliott with 8, Highsmith with 7. Hey, they had 7 tackles for loss, 4 sacks. The sacks were Patrick Queen, Keanu Benton, Preston Smith, and Nick Herbig. Beanie Bishop had the interception, but turnover on downs, and then Bengals got a field goal out of that. And then the Steelers lose by 2 as Boswell was 2 of 2 on his extra points and good on a 54-yard field goal. You'll look at the overall total team stats here and see time of possession was very one-sided. Bengals had the ball for 38 minutes on the dot compared to the Steelers' 22. I mean, that's more than half the game. even though Pittsburgh ran. They both had 11 total drives. Bengals clearly had more total plays because of the time of possession at 71-58. More first downs at 21-16. Bengals 5 of 13 on third down. Pittsburgh 4 of 12 for the 4-1-2. Neither team able to convert on fourth down tonight. 0-1 for Cincy, 0-2 for Pittsburgh. Steelers didn't even crack 200 total yards, for God's sakes. I mean, come on. 314 total for the Bengals, 193 for the Steelers. We had 9 total penalties, and 8 of them were in the first half. 6 of 25 for the Bengals, 3 of 20 for the Steelers. So the refs let them play tonight. And then the turnovers were what they were. It was really a turnover on downs, though, being the difference in this game. That's all said and done. And then the Bengals get a field goal out of it. And then, like I said, time of possession was 38 minutes on the dot to 22 in favor of the Cincinnati Bengals, and they win it 19-17. So, yeah, Steelers have lost 4 in a row to end the regular season for the first time since 1998. They're 10-7. They're still in the playoffs next week, so we'll see who the opponent is, depending on what happens tomorrow. But they'll either be at the Houston Texans or at the Baltimore Ravens. So if they would have won tonight, they'd be the 5 seed going to the Texans. They lost tonight, so now they got to wait till tomorrow to find out who they're playing. And even with the loss, if the Raiders beat the Chargers tomorrow, they're still the 5 seed, and they go to Houston to play the Texans next week sometime. But with the loss tonight, if the Chargers beat the Raiders, Pittsburgh's going to Baltimore, and they'll play the Ravens for the 3rd time this season. Kansas City will be off. Buffalo hosts as a 2 against the 7, which still can be Cincinnati with the win. They need the Dolphins and Broncos to lose tomorrow. But if only one of those 2 happen, since he's still out, and then it's either Denver or Miami at the 7 seed, and then with 5 and 6 with Pittsburgh and the LA Chargers, whoever's not 5 is going to be 6, and then whoever's not going to Houston's going to Baltimore, and you'll have those matchups. So, week 18 here with would have been nice if both home teams ended up winning today, let alone the road team earlier and then the home team tonight, not the other way around as it turned out to be. But what can you do? You can only control what you can control. They put themselves in this boat, and it is what it is at the end of the day. So, Steelers at the Texans, Steelers at the Ravens. Those are the 2 wildcard games that they're going to be playing next week. One or the other. So we'll see who the opponent is. We'll see when the game is, and whenever that might be, I'll have live play-by-play, watch-along reactions live here on YouTube then. So be sure to tune back in. But in the meantime, that'll do it for myself, for host Encyclopedia Sports. Coin Luke 96 live right here on YouTube. So thanks for tuning in and watching, and Happy New Year once again to everybody. And I'll see everybody next week. We are Penn State, and here we go, Steelers.